Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. The show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 15 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. Tim, the 10th anniversary show.
Yeah.
There you go. So, guys, if you didn't know already, we have been around 10 years almost. May 8th, Tim, is the official date that we'll say for the official 10th anniversary date. But we'll talk about that a little bit more as the show goes on. But we are going to be celebrating it since this is kind of our birthday month, Tim. We're having like a birthday week or birthday month, I guess you could say. But we're really excited, guys, to be talking with y'all tonight and celebrating the 10th anniversary of Arcade Repair Tips. So thank you for joining us. We're so glad that you're here. Now, guys, if you don't know who this man is, he is, of course, Mr. Arcade Repair Tips, Tim Peterson. Tim, how are you?
Just wanted to say hi.
Oh, okay.
And I'm great, John. How are you doing?
I am doing good. It was kind of busy getting to this point, but I think we've got everything set up now. New camera. I don't know if you can tell, but this one is a little bit better, Tim. Auto-focusing. So we'll see if that works out for us tonight and for the live show audience. Now, if you guys are watching, remember that you can join us in the live chat and you can leave us messages and we'll actually talk about those messages throughout the show. Tim, I'm looking in here. I see Cheers from California. That's Silly Sausage 72.
Okay.
I see Joe Ring says happy 10th anniversary. Thank you very much, Joe, for that. YouTube Punk says... we're about to go live. Maddie Mo says congrats. We got a lot of congrats. Congratulations. Edward says, hi, guys. Hi, Edward. How's it going? Thank you guys all for joining us tonight. Hopefully we'll have many more people join us as the night goes on, Tim.
Yes.
But before we get into questions or arcade repair tips history or anything like that, Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. How are things at Chuck E. Cheese?
It's kind of a slower time of the year. You get a lot of school groups, end of the year type parties and stuff, but good chance for me to try to do some restoration on my games and recovering from spring break repairs and fixing stuff.
Spring break has been what, like 2-3 weeks past now, something like that?
About a month.
Are you about caught up at this point?
Just
or are you
about.
Still working?
I'm getting there.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, I've actually been working on, my focus has been on my show lately. Since we had the animatronics debate, I kind of felt bad because we still have an animatronic character and evidently a lot of people like it, and I'm like, I really don't give it the kind of love I need to give, so I've been doing a little extra work on my animatronics lately.
Now, I noticed that they're having like a Munch's Make Believe Band tour. Yeah. Have you seen that? That's like touring to some of the different Chuck E. Cheese locations. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Are you going to make a special trip to see this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I hear plenty of it every day. I'm good.
Okay, so but when they throw out the animatronics, you gotta admit you'll be a little sad, right?
Yeah, I know that. Well, I think just because of maybe the public outcry, plans have really been put on hold for a lot of locations.
Really?
In fact, the news that broke wasn't exactly true anyway. It was some of the newer type stores, only 6 stores or something did away.
So in other words, they're not putting animatronics in new stores, really.
Right.
But they're keeping the old ones still.
Yeah, in fact, I was in, when I was in California a couple weeks ago, still had an old 3-stage show with a rotating Chucky and all kinds of stuff on it. So
now you brought up something because we had to move the last live show up because you had to go to California. How was your trip?
That's right. Oh, that was great. We had another good. I was more in the San Francisco area this time, and so that was a little. Of course, that was my second trip out there. So I'm kind of getting used to everything and where to go and how to beat the traffic. Get up really early. Like 4
a.m. Isn't that any city?
Yeah.
That's how you beat the traffic? So.
But let me tell you, they have some traffic there later in the day. But
absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you for giving us the update. We're glad to hear that you're doing well. And guys, again, we thank you guys for joining us tonight. And we're going to be getting here into the questions. We're also, Tim, going to be giving away prizes tonight.
Oh, yeah.
I believe we said something about that,
Yeah,
right?
we did.
So in order to find out how to enter, you'll have to wait until later on in the show. We'll be saying that several times, Tim. So if you missed it, if you're not watching this from the beginning, if you missed it, we will have them later. Of course, Tim, if you're watching it recorded, you missed out on the prizes. They were already all given away. We will announce the winners at the end of the show.
Okay,
and you'll get to Vanna White all the prizes that we have.
Oh, awesome.
So there you go. So Tim will be our model for all the prizes you guys can see. But we'll discuss that here in a little bit. Tim, let's see, Mofasta says he used to work at the Mouse, which I assume is Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh,
so
nice.
you have a former Chuck E. Cheese employee in there as well. Well, guys, again, thank you for joining us. And Tim, I guess without any further ado, we'll get into the questions for this episode. So the first one we had, Tim, was from Mark. And Mark actually left this as a comment on the previous live show. Okay. And we will cover those, guys. If you leave comments on the previous live show, we will cover them on the next live show. And Tim, this is what we have from Mark. He says, I'm restoring a pole position and have installed a flat screen LCD. The power block went bad. I bought a switching power supply. Can the switching power supply power the game alone, or do I still need to run it through a power block? If so, can someone tell me or point me to a diagram to show me the wiring for this? I haven't had any luck finding anything to explaining this. Love the shows. So Tim, we have Mark here, and what Mark wants to do is he actually wants to take out like the big transformer that's in the bottom of his game and replace it with a switcher. Okay? Right. And now he's already replaced the monitor with an LCD. Okay. At this point, so he just wants to get rid of the brick completely and put a switcher in. Can he do that?
Yes. The key that makes it even easier is the fact that he did put an LCD in there.
Right.
Because what you really need in that power brick is isolation transformer for your older monitors.
Correct.
Everything else is just running voltage to your board, so if you put a switcher in there and wire it up correctly, then you should be able to power your board with just that. In fact, we've done that before.
We have. And now, Tim, there is something special about pole position. Let's go ahead and show this picture here while I'm thinking about it. So this is a picture, Tim, I got from one of the forums that we like to frequent. Okay. But this guy, as you can see, actually took out the entire bottom. You'll see the before and after pics here. And he removed the entire bottom there, the power brick and like everything, and just put in the switching power supply with an isolation transformer. Now, Tim, like you mentioned, you only need the isolation transformer if you're going to be powering a CRT monitor, okay? Since he has an LCD monitor, he won't need that. But Tim, something that we do need to mention is you can remove the AR2 boards.
Right.
The AR2 boards act like amplifiers, okay? So if you're going to remove the AR2 board, you have to get a replacement amplifier for that. Now, you can run voltage to the AR2. You can run just the 5 volts to the AR2s, and it should work.
That's what I would probably recommend doing, but
it just depends on the condition of your AR2 board.
Yeah, if your AR2 board is still good, I would still use it.
Right.
Because you need it, like you said, for the audio amplification and stuff.
Right.
But if not, if it was bad, then I would go to plan B, which would be to
buy an
amplifier.
Right, and that's what he did here, and I thought that was very interesting. So he actually replaced the AR2 with just some off-the-shelf amplifiers, which you can get, Tim. You don't have to get anything fancy for that.
Okay.
But you can get a couple of those and replace it, no problem. But let's say that he still has a good working AR2 board. So Tim, let's go ahead and go here. In your case, the switching power supply should be able to power the game without the need for the original power block. If you are still using the CRT monitor in your cabinet, you would need to also have an isolation transformer, but since you've replaced the monitor with an LCD, the isolation transformer is no longer required, just like Tim mentioned. As far as the wiring is concerned, you can pretty much just run the 5 volts line to the boards and it should work. And Tim, you need to run one, of course, to the main board. You need to run it to the AR2 boards,
right?
Okay, so it can amplify the sound and everything. And Tim, there's a great article in the StarTech Journal, January 1991, that actually talks about how to do this.
Well, there you go.
And you need to read that article because it's fantastic and it pretty much breaks down exactly what you need to know. Tim, we have the link here in the outline, but we also have it already in the notes section below. So if you guys are watching this video right now, there's actually a link already. That same link that we just posted on the slide is also right down here. So you can go ahead and click on it. But that, Tim, is a great resource. BrentRadio.com, Tim, is where it links to. And he has several different copies of things from the StarTech Journal. Tim, did you ever have a subscription to the StarTech Journal?
No, I don't. If we did, I don't remember it. So I have seen copies of it, but no, I don't remember having one back in the day.
Well, it was a great repair resource for operators. I mean, that's what it was meant to be. You know, you could send out tips and things like that. And this is just one of such tips that they had in the magazine, Tim, that would help you out with one of your repairs.
We could have used one with pole position for sure. Yeah. That thing was always giving us trouble.
And that's why this article, Tim, written in 1991, talks about how to convert your pole position to a switching power supply. That's exactly what it talks about. So this is exactly what Mark wants to do, so I'm sure it'll help him out. But Mark, if you have any additional questions, please let us know. Tim, anything else for Mark's question before we move on?
No, just remember, anytime you're dealing with a pole position, I highly recommend that you add some fans.
Yes, absolutely.
That cabinet seems to run really hot inside. It's so thick and heavy. I highly recommend you put some fans in there to circulate some of the
air.
The
cockpit one definitely has one at the top, right? Like in the very back top section, I believe. There may be more in there, but we do recommend making sure that all your fans are working, Tim. A lot of times, especially at this time with pole position being, 30 years old plus.
Right.
You really need to get good air circulation to those boards, and those fans may not be working anymore. So definitely want to do that. So Mark, hopefully answers your question. Good luck rewiring your pole position to use a switching power supply. Tim, not very difficult. Hopefully he'll be able to handle it. Tim, something to mention too is that pole position does not use the 12 volt line.
Oh, okay.
So it's really just a 5 volt line that you're going for. So. Okay, Tim, we got a couple other here. Peter says, congratulations, happy 10th anniversary. Thank you, Peter. And then YouTube Punk says, prize tease. Man, we got to tease things. We want you to stay tuned, right? We want you to keep and watch. We're trying to keep you watching. That's what it comes down to. So, Tim, I think that's it for the live chat right now. So let us move on to Skylar. Here we go. And Skylar says, hello, I just picked up a converted 60-in-1 cabinet. It has a 27-inch CRT monitor that does run and work, but the left side is compressed. If I adjust the position, it stretches the screen, but the right side is still distorted. If I adjust the size, it does move the screen around, but again, the distortion remains. With that said, the whole screen does work. I hooked up a VGA monitor and it shows normal. So I assume Tim, he hooked it up to the 61 board and it works. I'm not sure what's going on. Thank you. And Tim, he did send a picture, and what you see is the picture that he sent us. And you'll see how the picture is not just off center, Tim, but that first row of games or first column of games is kind of squished. Right, exactly. So, what do you think's going on with Skylar's 27-inch CRT monitor here he's using in a 60-in-1 cabinet?
Well, there are a couple of adjustments that he can try to do, but they're not necessarily the ones he was using.
Sure.
More or less, you need to look at your sync and try the holds and stuff and see if that will help.
Frequency.
Yeah, your frequency and stuff, but more than likely, he just needs to go ahead and recap his monitor.
And Tim, we've seen this a lot, I think, where, the caps, like, especially the top part of the image, which it looks like that's the top part of his monitor, the way that the monitor is oriented. It starts to squeeze in a lot when we start having capacitor failure.
And I was wanting to say that there was some 19-inch monitor, like a Betson Imperial or something, we could hardly ever get to work with a 60-in-1. It was like
there are some frequency issues sometimes with the 60-in-1 boards.
Right, and so you could just have one of those monitors that just don't sync up good with them.
Right,
but
that's rare.
Hopefully, tweaking your sync sum and the frequency sum will help you.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and put up slide 10. It pretty much says exactly what you said. Your monitor size and position adjustments are not going to really help with this. Instead, try vertical and horizontal sync or hold or frequency to see if they make a difference in your picture. If none of the monitor adjustments remove the distortion, then your monitor is probably experiencing capacitor failure of some sort. At this point, try installing a cap kit on your monitor chassis to see if it solves the problem. See our post on installing a cap kit for more information. Tim, I can't tell you how many monitors we've seen where the top part is squished like that. The Tekken Tag tournament that I have, the very first time I put the Tekken board in there, Tim, all the characters looked like they were this tall because it was all squished up into the top, kind of very similar to what he has. Replaced the caps on it, did a full cap kit, guess what? Picture came back. No problem. So probably if you can't get that picture adjusted through frequency or sync or hold adjustments, then you're probably having a capacitor failure issue. You need to do a cap kit on the monitor. Tim, anything else for Skylar?
No, I think that's all. I think we got Skylar pretty covered.
Sounds good. So Skylar hopefully answers your question, and good luck getting that 27-inch 60-in-1 monitor working 100%. Okay, Tim, we got a question in the chat from Joe, and Joe says, so I've been trying to restore my original BurgerTime, but I'm feeling overwhelmed with it on the monitor. I wanted to keep the original, but it's becoming a headache. Any tips to help my headache? Okay, so he has the original monitor, but it's becoming a headache. And Joe, you may have to elaborate. Like, what's the monitor doing, right? Like, what kind of is it like not centered? Are there different issues? Is it just not coming on? I mean, what are the issues that we're facing here with the monitor? I think is a really good point. And so, but Tim, just in general, is there anything about BurgerTime in general that you think could be overwhelming to somebody as far as wiring or other issues?
Nothing any more than a lot of games from that era. If he's having a monitor issue and he's already done a cap kit, and once you do a cap kit, we try to keep everything on a let's say on intermediate to beginner level on our show.
Yeah.
And so if you've done a cap kit and if it doesn't have a flyback issue or it's powering on, or you just can't get...
You're getting voltage.
Yeah.
And high voltage.
I mean, you could have even a yoke issue.
Right.
So that would maybe something that you could check. You
could have a tube issue.
You need to check your tube. Make sure that your tube is okay. That will help you some too. Some point, though, this is even myself. I would say I'm okay and pretty good at fixing monitor repairs. But if you'll notice in a lot of the videos, we took ours to Michael because he knew a lot more than we did. In fact, we were learning as we were doing at that time. At some point, you might have to say, is this worth me hassling over, or pay somebody like Chad or one of our other people and let what's $100 these days really, if it's going to come back looking and playing like new, to go ahead and spend a little money and do that. Sometimes it's easier or better to let an expert to do that.
Right. So Joe says, not sure. I'm still kind of new to monitor issues. I have no idea where to start. So the main question is, what is it doing? Does it come on at all?
Right.
Okay, if it doesn't come on at all, then you're having a high voltage issue of some sort. We're not getting power to the monitor. If it comes on, but the picture's distorted, that's something different. Could have sync issues, could have frequency issues, could have capacitor issues, could have a lot of things at that point. Could have resistor, transistor issues, could have a whole bunch of stuff.
But even if you're new, one of the best places to learn how to work on stuff is to do a cap kit on one.
Sure.
And we got plenty of videos about that kind of stuff, so you can look up those. And hopefully we can answer more questions throughout tonight, too, if you need to.
And it looks like YouTube Punk's helping him out, too, Tim. And we'll try to catch up with that. So, Joe, if you want to provide any more details, exactly what the monitor's doing, we'll hit you back up here in a little bit. But, Tim, why don't we take a break here and announce what you can do to get prizes?
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody wants, right?
Sure.
Okay, so here we go. Giveaway time. Enter for your chance to win. We are giving away several prizes tonight, including a Retrobit RES game console with 501 game cartridge. To enter the giveaway, please send us an email at contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, shipping address, and your favorite arcade repair tips moment if you have one, Tim. That is not a requirement, but we would love to hear whatever your favorite moments are from Arcade Repair Tips history, Tim, the 10-year history that we have. So if you have favorite podcasts or videos or other moments, please put those in the email. If not a requirement to enter the contest tonight. Tim, one entry per person, please. Okay, and we will pick all the winners at random at the end of the show, and we will announce them, Tim.
It's got to be watching live tonight.
Yes, got to be watching live tonight.
May the 3rd.
May the 3rd, that's right. That is when we're doing this. So, yes, you got to be watching right now. So, again, send those to contest@arcaderepairtips.com. Contest, name, shipping address, because we're going to ship these things to you, right, Tim? I can't just magically make them come out of your computer screen, although that would be really cool. But we will ship these things to you, so make sure you put a shipping address in there. Tim, if you don't put the shipping address in, you can't win. Okay, so we need that. Okay, anyway, so there you go, guys. Send those emails in. We're actually monitoring the email. We'll try to monitor it as the show goes on here. I've got it up here, Tim, and so as the entries come in, we'll see them. Okay. So you guys send them in. We'll be repeating this a couple of times throughout the show, so you guys can have a chance to enter. So, I know people may be joining us later, Tim. They may
I'd say your chances are pretty good right now.
I would think so, too. Yeah, I mean, we just announced it, so it's taking a minute. So anyway, contest@arcaderepairtips.com, name, address, and favorite Arcade Repair Tips moment if you've got one. So there you go. Okay, Tim. Okay, so we got all that in there. So let's go ahead and move on real quick. Let me see who the next guy we have here is. The next one is from Jason, Tim.
Okay.
And here we go with Jason. I have a newer style cocktail table with a 60-in-1 board installed. Last night we changed out the Seimitsu LS32 joysticks and installed Zippy joysticks set to the 4-way setting. Now, Tim, if you're not familiar with Zippies, they've got the 8 4-way switch. So you can set them either way. They seem to work on the main menu and on the game 1943, but on games like Kicks or Miss Pac-Man, the player 1 side won't go down and the player 2 side won't go up. Do you think I might have messed up the wiring or might have the wiring messed up? Thank you, Jason. Okay, Tim, so all Jason did was he had a 60-in-1 board cocktail table, and all he did was just swap out the joysticks, and I assume just kind of plugged on all of the quick disconnects, you know, the little connectors, and for some reason now it seems like his 1-player side won't go down and his 2-player side won't go up. Okay, I mean, the only thing he changed was the joystick, so he's asking, could he have messed up the wiring?
Yes.
Absolutely, right?
Very easily could have. One of the best things to do, Jason, is to go into the test mode.
Yes.
Once you go into the test mode, you can see if it's actually working or what's not working. The ones that aren't working, sometimes just reconnecting them. The one thing that I've seen and that I've done before is a lot of those connectors are insulated. And you can totally stick it inside the insulation and miss the metal part of the connector.
Correct.
So sometimes just a simple reconnection. Also, just from pulling and putting them back on, They will break right at the end, or the wire will get real brittle.
That's important. When you're taking them off and putting them on, needle nose pliers, Tim, a lot of times is what we use, because if you pull at the wire, there's a good chance you'll break a wire or pull the wire out of the connector.
Or sometimes it'll be crimped in the connector, but broken up inside the connector. Does that make sense? So it still looks like it's connected, but really in there it's not. One of the best things to do is, if you just can't figure it out, you can do a continuity check, or you can go ahead and strip that wire and touch that bare wire in the test mode and see if it works. Then you know, oh, I need to reconnect it.
Right.
That's now, I mean, there could be a rare... It bothers me a little bit. It says it will work in the menu, but not in the game.
But not in kicks, right.
So are you 100% sure you're in a 4-way and not the 8-way mode? Because it kind of sounds almost like you're in the 8-way mode to me.
Right.
But you're going to have to check that.
You know, you make it a good point, and something I didn't think about until right now, Tim. 1943 is, I believe, can use 8 ways.
Right.
But Miss Pac-Man and Kicks can only use 4 ways.
Right. They will act up if you're in the wrong mode.
Correct.
And so those are a couple things that I highly recommend that you check out. But it's very well likely could be a wiring issue just from pulling and pulling. Those wires are probably old. You didn't wire it new.
Right.
So just by moving them, it's kind of like you move a game across the room, it quits working, because stuff just likes sitting where it is and how it is. And then when you disturb it, a lot of times we lose connections or continuity there.
Absolutely. So there you go. So I think that's great advice here for Jason, Tim. Let's go ahead and put up the slide while we're here. If all the directions were working before you changed out the joysticks, and there's a good chance that it is a wiring issue of some sort, the fact that the directions seem to work on some games and not others is confounding.
Yeah.
I just put that on there, like we said. We recommend going into the I/O test on the 61 board and verifying which directions are working from there. Tim, you also mentioned the 4-way, 8-way switch. Very possible that there could be something confusing in there as well. Now, there is a small possibility that the 61 board is having some issues. You might try turning the power supply up just a bit to see if it helps, because Tim maybe is just having some problems. There's not enough power to register all the inputs or something like that. But Tim, I think the 4-way, 8-way switch is a great thing to keep in mind too, something I did not put on the slide, because it sounds like it's working in maybe the 8-way games, but not the 4-way games.
Right.
So, there you go.
And we have a video. Don't we have a video when we built the cocktail that shows how to switch it from a 4 to an 8-way?
I believe we talked about that on there. Now that, I don't know if those were zippy or not. Those may have been just generic joysticks, but that one has a restrictor plate. The one that we used had a restrictor plate. A restrictor plate is one thing. Some of them you pull up on, you rotate, and you shift them down. It just depends, and I forget.
You may actually be using an 8-way thinking it's a 4-way. You may have it done the wrong way.
Absolutely. So, Tim, anything else for Jason before we move on?
I think that's all.
Sounds good. So, Jason, hopefully that answers your question, and good luck at getting those zippy joysticks working with your 60-in-1 game. Now, Tim, it looks like we have an update on Joe's problem. He says it's really scrambled up, and every adjustment I mess with seems to mess the prior adjustment up. Yes, it has net glow. So he's having an issue. It sounds like it's synced.
He's got power and it's not syncing up.
Right, exactly. So, Tim, the very first thing I think I'm going to recommend here for Joe, touch up the solder on your monitor input pins and make sure that your sync wire coming from the board to the monitor chassis is making a good connection.
Yes.
Because I have seen that too many times where I've been trying to sync a monitor, Tim, and I can't sync it for anything, and it's because the sync wire coming from the monitor or from the board to the monitor chassis is not making a good connection. Tim, we talked about the input pins on the monitor chassis after a while from unplugging, and plugging back in.
Same thing we just talked about.
Right, they wear over time, and you need to touch up the solder on those to make that connection. And so now, Tim, it could be a frequency adjustment. Okay, there could be frequency issues. Tim, B+ voltage on a lot of times will cause syncing issues like this if it's not dialed in. So make sure that your B+ voltage is also dialed in. If you need help locating down your monitor chassis, let me know, or let us know which one you have. Send us some pictures and we can help you locate that.
Yeah.
Tim, anything else for Joe, though, before we move on?
No, Joe, keep after it, though. Don't get too frustrated. It probably is something really simple, and adjusting those horizontal and vertical pots may bring it into sync.
Now, Matt says time to do a cap kit. Cap kit's a great thing, and here's the deal, Tim. If you're going to take it out to do the monitor input touch-up anyway, if you're going to touch up those pins, why not do the cap kit, especially if it has never had one on it? It's a great time, because whenever we have the chassis pulled out, Tim, that's like my time to work on everything, I feel like. You know, I'm not just going to work on the problem unless I know exactly what the problem is.
I tell people this all the time. Every time we would give Michael a chassis to repair, before he ever turned it on or did anything, he would flip it over and start touching up solder joints all over the place.
Absolutely.
And so, very common problem. something that can be easily fixed, though.
There you go. So, Joe, hopefully answers your question. Now, if you have additional details or information you'd like to give us, we'll try to give you some more information based on that. So,
right.
Okay, Tim, let's go on here. Okay, the next one we have is from Brett, Tim, and let us move on to Brett's question. Brett says, "Hi, guys. Great videos. They are tons of help. Thanks."
You're welcome.
There we go. I have an old Miss Pac-Man stand-up that I put a 61 board in a while back. I wanted to get the 412 in one, but I'm not sure what else I need besides the board. Do I need a new wiring harness, buttons, etc.? Thanks for your help. Now, Tim, there's a lot of people who do this, who want to do the conversion. Like, I have a 61 now. I want to convert it over to a 412 in one. Tim, we have a video on converting a 412 or a 61 to a 412 in one that I actually filmed, and you can go on and see on our YouTube page right around here. But, Tim, just in general, does he need a new wiring harness in order to plug the 412 in one up to a 60 in one?
Not if the 60 in one's working, which means he's already wired a JAMA or a converter that does that.
Exactly.
So the only thing is the 412 has an extra ground pin or something, and you go into detail on that.
I do in that video.
On the video.
Right, so pin 27, JAMA is 28 pins, okay? Like all the way across, 28 pins.
So right at
27,
the end.
Yeah, pin 27 around the end does not need to be hooked to ground. Okay, now in most standard JAMA wiring harnesses, Tim, it is. And so, but if that's hooked to ground, the board actually says it will not work properly. Okay, so make sure, all you have to do is cut it. Okay, you don't have to do anything special to it. You just cut pin 27, parts and solder side, and then that will release that ground from that connection.
I always like to cut it about 3 or 4 inches off of my harness.
Correct.
That way, if I ever need it again, it's easy to reconnect back up to.
And Tim, speaking of connecting back up, I think we're going to be talking about that a little bit later.
We do. We have a tech tip that will help you out, I hope.
There you go. So if you ever need to reconnect wires, Tim will talk about that here in the tech tip section in a bit. But anyway, Tim, you're exactly right. So now a lot of 412-in-1 games, Tim, also have the third button. And to do some of the test menu stuff, you will also need to wire up a third button. Okay, because many 16-ones only have 2 buttons hooked up.
Right.
Depends on your 16-one, okay?
Yeah, you're going to need an extra button for a lot of games.
Right, you need 3
buttons.
buttons.
Not a lot of games, but you need it for some games.
Now, you can go in and disable the games that use the third button, but guess what you need in order to disable them?
The third button.
Right, exactly. So, the third button comes into play somehow, some way, somehow. You don't necessarily have to like have a third button on your control panel, but you'll need it if you want to disable the games in the menu. Mm-hmm. So what I do a lot of times is I'll keep 2, but I'll hide it underneath the control panel or something.
Right.
You know, just a cherry switch that I can hit. So Tim, let's go ahead and show this here for Brett. Good news, both the 61 and 412-in-1 boards use the JAMA standard. With that said, the 412-in-1 board does not like pin 27 to be hooked up to ground. You will need to disconnect this pin from the ground in order for this board to work properly in your cabinet. And Tim, you actually talked about that, you know, leave a little bit of wire when you disconnect that. Make sure you can connect back to it later. You may also consider adding a third button to your control panel, or there are several games that use this button during gameplay. You can disable these games if you wish. See our post on installing a 412-in-1 multi-game board and a JAMA cabinet. And Tim, like I said, if you want to disable games, though, I believe you will need that third button for the test menu.
Right.
Something to keep in mind. So there you go, Brett. So it's really not that difficult. You don't necessarily need a third button, but you will need access to the third button in order to disable the games that use it. So, I mean, I know it's kind of confusing that way, but, I mean, it is the way it is. So
you don't necessarily need a third button, but you need a third button.
Exactly. Yeah. You don't need one on the control panel, but you need to have access to it.
There you go.
There you go. So, Brett, hopefully answers your question. So, wiring-wise, pretty much the same. Just pin 27 needs to be cut. No ground connections there. And then make sure that you have access to the third button so you can disable any games that use it. And Tim, here's the thing. A lot of games play fine without it. Yeah. You know, so, I mean, you can probably play most of the list without the third button. Even the games that do use it, it's usually just like a bomb button or something. It makes the game harder.
You need it on Gunsmoke.
Yeah, Gunsmoke would be. Well, you know, they have the hack like in the 16-one where you just hit one button and it shoots 3 ways.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily need it. It just depends. So there you go. So, Brett, hopefully answers your question. Good luck installing that 412-in-1 board in your 61 modified Miss Pac-Man cabinet. Tim, a lot of 61 questions tonight.
Yeah.
You know, it's become a popular board. What can we say? YouTube Punk, a little update on Joe, just asking him brand and model. Yes, if you know the brand and model of your monitor, that will help us tremendously in helping you troubleshoot it. Tim, where can they go to find the brand and model of their...
You can go to Bob Roberts' site and look up What's My Monitor.
Right, actually... Bob Roberts, no, the real Bob Roberts.net/monitor.html. You know why I know that, Tim? Because we recommend it to people all the time. There, Tim, he has pictures of every monitor chassis, and all you have to do is find the one that matches yours, and then tell us what you have. So that's all you got to do, right?
Simple enough.
Simple enough. So there you go. Well, Tim, I think it's time to remind everybody that we are running a contest tonight. Tim, let's look and see how many entries we have so far. Oh, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot at all
chances.
here. Good chances. Okay, so we'll go ahead and put this back up here, guys. If y'all are going to enter tonight, this is how you're going to win. We're giving away Retrobit RES with a 501 game cartridge. To enter the giveaway, please send an email to contest@arcaderepairtips.com. If you send it, Tim, to one of our other email addresses, it doesn't get there.
Right.
Okay? Has to be contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, your shipping address, and your favorite Arcade Repair Tips moment if you have one. Tim, there may be people that just don't have one. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Hopefully tonight will be your favorite Arcade Repair Tips.
Or maybe there's just so many to choose from them. They want
how-
to hurry up and get their entry in.
I like how optimistic you are, Tim. Very optimistic. Absolutely. So, okay. Oh, we got a couple in here. So, I mean, you guys still have a really good chance. Tim, we're giving away 4 prizes.
Okay.
If only 4 people enter, y'all win. So there you go. Again, contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, address, and favorite Arcade Repair Tips moment. So there you go. Okay, Tim, it looks like the live chat is slowed down. Don't have anything new in there. So let us go ahead and continue on with a question from Nick, Tim. And Nick says, hello, I recently purchased a Sega emergency call ambulance game. It has 2 rotating beacons on the top. Unfortunately, they are not spinning or lighting up right now. I've been searching for a possible answer as to what could be wrong. They were spinning the first time I plugged it in. I bought new bulbs for them and matched the ones that were already in it. I turned it on after installing the bulbs and they stopped spinning and the monitor wouldn't come on.
Okay.
Okay, that's a big deal. I took the bulbs back out, turned it on, monitor came back on, but the beacons no longer spin. Is there anything it could be that I could possibly fix? Now, Tim, it's important to note here, I know a lot of times people take a bulb out and replace it with the one that was in there. Sometimes people don't put the right bulbs back in.
Right.
Okay, and that may have been why it wasn't working before. It could have been that somebody went down to their just local store, picked up a bulb, and put it on, and it didn't work, and they were just like, oh well, and left it there.
Right.
So just because it was the one that matched the one that came out of the game doesn't mean it was the actual part that was supposed to go in there, right?
Exactly.
And so that's something to keep in mind. Now, Tim, this whole business about putting a bulb in there and monitor going out doesn't sound good at all. Can you elaborate on what might be going on there?
It's kind of funny. When I went to work for Chuck E. Cheese, one of the first games I ever worked on for them was a game called Robobot.
Okay.
And
is that the one with the lights, the big gray robot and the lights that light up the
lights
sides?
up. You hit
and
them.
you hit the thing, right? And it goes out, kind of like
had a beacon on top.
Yeah, I remember this. Okay.
And I remember that it didn't spin, didn't do anything. And I went up there and I looked, and there was no light bulb in there.
Sure.
So I thought, well,
easy enough.
This one looks like it would fit, when I put it in there. And we had some similar issues. Was number one, I had the wrong bulb. Number two was it kept shorting stuff out. And when I finally took it all apart, finally took the beacon off and got it in my hands, and look, something had gotten down inside of there. And by I just made it worse by pushing it down and further. Kind of like I've seen.
I've had lamps do that.
Yeah, stuff gets down into a cigarette lighter on your car, and it won't work or charge.
I had a stand-up lamp that something had happened to the socket, and every time I would plug it in, it would blow the breaker.
Yeah,
and it was because something had gotten down in the socket,
inside there.
Issues. Right.
So that would be something I would look at. But most of the time, what happens is not the light. Remember, these things turn; they have a motor inside.
Correct.
A lot of times those little motors go out and they are trying to kick on at the same time the lights. They're probably blowing the light, maybe sending AC power back. A lot of times it's the motors that have gone bad. So what I recommend, number one, you can make sure your wiring is right and it's wired up correctly. Check for voltage with it unplugged or a light out of there. See if you're actually getting voltage up to it. But most of the time I found, and you think these things would be really simple, but most of the time it's just easier to replace the whole beacon.
Sure.
And you don't have to have one exactly like that one. You probably can't get it anymore anyway. But there's a lot of them on eBay and Amazon, places like that will work, and you can wire up, or you can wire it up separately, just have them come on. But I'm assuming that this game, like most games, they come on at a certain time.
Right.
There also should be something in the test menu where you can turn those lights on, just the power to those lights, see what would happen there.
Sounds good. And Tim, I mean, what you said was pretty much verbatim what I had here. I like the Robobot story, though.
Yeah.
That's something I haven't even heard.
That
New story.
Probably one of the first games I ever worked on.
There you go. So he says it's possible that the new bulbs are short. It's possible that the new bulbs shorted out something in the AC line in the cabinet, which is why the monitor and light rotation motors stopped working when you installed them. We recommend checking the wiring that goes to the lights to make sure there are no exposed, frayed, or misconnected wires that might be causing issues. Like Tim mentioned, checking the socket as well to make sure that there's nothing lodged up in the socket, and make sure that there's nothing that may be bridging that connection between AC line and AC neutral there. So definitely want to check that. Now, if you're having trouble finding the issue with your current light fixtures, you can replace them, like Tim said, with off-the-shelf beacon lights, such as one, Tim. And again, we have this link right below in the show information, right below our video here. Okay. The same link, and Tim, it's like a $15 beacon light. Okay, so it's not very expensive. And Tim, we actually did that on a Cyber Sled, correct?
Yes.
Yes, we actually replaced them with just off-the-shelf beacon lights.
And an F-14 pinball game.
Yeah, and an F-14 pinball game. You don't have to use the actual light. You just need to figure out what the voltage is going up to that, Tim, and then make sure you find a beacon light that matches, right?
Exactly.
That's what it comes down to. So, anything else for Nick, Tim, before we move on?
Yeah, so you could look at your manual. It could need to be a DC voltage,
right?
And you're running AC up there,
right? Or it could be the bulb was an AC bulb, need DC voltage or whatever. The
exactly, or
vice versa. Right, exactly. So definitely want to check the manual to see what bulb you need. Replacing it with the correct bulb may help you more. So hopefully answers your question, Nick. And good luck getting the beacon lights on your Sega. What is it, emergency ambulance call?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I haven't thought about Robobop in years.
There you go.
You know, it's really
funny.
Creepy.
I remember seeing one, like a picture of one online not too long ago, which is the funny thing. Maybe it was at an auction. You know, I always see all those auction pictures.
I know it would scare you half to death if you walk by and you go, "Hi!"
Just like your shirt.
Yeah. Hi. Hey.
But, you know, I like the games that call out. I feel like that's like Carnival, you know what I'm saying? Like, hi! And what's the alien skee ball one that they have?
I heard of a test location that turned on all the attract modes to their game, which we've always been told is a big no-no.
Right.
Sales went up 3%.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
And I don't know why, but they did. It's
noisy
as all get out.
I'm not a fan of, like, a lot of attract modes going at once, I guess. I guess some people are. Tim, I guess it depends on what the game is, you know?
Right.
But having all of them go at the same time kind of sounds just like chaos a lot of times.
It does.
Right, it just depends. So there you go. So, Tim, let's move on here. I'm looking here in the live chat. The last thing we have is just YouTube Punk asking Joe about his monitor there. Oh, Matt said Duncan Alien is the skee ball one that has the alien that taunts you. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Duncan, you used to have. You had a.
I had a Duncan Alien before. Yes.
There you go. So thank you, Matt, for that. So, Tim, let's move on to Robert real quick. And Robert says, "Good day. I have a WWF WrestleFest arcade game. The video that showed the flyback arcing out, mine is doing the same thing, Tim." Okay. There you go. Great video, I might add. How much does the flyback cost, or is it worth converting to a flat screen? My plan is to convert it to a 16:1 and save the original board. I am in Niagara on the lake in Canada. So I guess near Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
So there you go. Some info and insight would be appreciated. Now, Tim, here you go. So WWF WrestleFest with arcing.
Yes.
Okay, so arcing is never good. Mm-hmm. And usually arcing is caused by a crack or hole in the flyback. Right, exactly.
It's kind of cool looking, but it's really dangerous.
Yes, exactly. Just like we show in the video. Now, Tim, he's asking, should he replace it, or should he just replace the flyback, or should he replace the entire monitor? What advice would you give Robert on his WWF WrestleFest?
Well, I would like to see it stay original and him try to repair the monitor, because most of the time that flyback arcing, and once you replace it, you're pretty good to go. So, you're looking at, $30 to $60 if it's still available, which they're getting harder and harder to find now.
Absolutely, depending on your monitor chassis.
So, under $100, I would think.
Sure. So, now, what about the replacement? So, if he under $100 for a flyback, if he goes to replace it, how much would he be out there?
Well, it's going to cost more if he does with an LCD screen, right, because we always recommend an arcade style,
right,
which is, anywhere from $200 to $300.
Right, exactly. So you're looking at a difference of $100 to $200 or $300, depending on which way he wants to go, right?
Right.
And so it's just really going to depend on Robert as to what's going on. So let's go ahead and look at this here, Tim. Now, YouTube Punk says, what is arcing? Does JB Weld fix arcing? So there you go. Arcing is exactly what this picture is doing right here. You see the little electric or the little lightning bolt that's going from the flyback to the little metal part on the chassis.
Yeah, think of Dr. Frankenstein when he throws the switch and the lightning bolt comes out like the Tesla ball.
Right.
That's
arcing. There you go. So that's exactly what he's having. Now, Tim, arcing can be very scary. like you mentioned, and it makes an awful sound. And Tim, if you leave the game plugged in with arcing, it'll probably cause more problems.
Jonathan, we actually, I don't know if we shot this in a video, but we actually worked on one time that was arcing for a second. Then it started, a flame came out of it.
It was a joust, I remember.
It looked like, you ever seen like a cigarette lighter?
It looked like a cigarette lighter, that's right.
But about...
You turn the game on,
and the cigarette lighter would pop up.
That's right.
So, we didn't want to see what happened after that.
Somebody said Raiden. YouTube Punk, Raiden.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Raiden from Mortal Kombat, man.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So flybacks for most modder chassis are going to run about $30 to $60 depending on the make and model. You may need some additional parts as well to get your modder chassis fully working, but overall it should cost you less than $100. Okay. If you were to replace your current monitor with an LCD screen, you need to buy one that supports the standard arcade resolution 15 kilohertz. Now, I know a lot of people, Tim, may say you can go with the video converter and an off-the-shelf.
Yeah.
We don't like to do that. We like to get a monitor that's already designed for 15 kilohertz.
Right.
Okay, we recommend that. But if you want one that's designed for that, they run about $200 to $300 for a 19-inch. Now, you can go with an off-the-shelf LCD video converter board, but like we said, we try to avoid this as the monitors weren't made to be used in commercial environments, right, Tim?
Right.
So it's like if you put that up at Chuck E. Cheese, let's say you just took an off-the-shelf 19-inch monitor and a video converter, put that in Chuck E. Cheese, running as much as you do, how long do you think it would last?
Maybe a few months.
Right, exactly.
I don't think it would
just because
last that
those
long.
monitors are encased a lot of times, and a case in a case. Right, exactly. So you have heat issues, and then there's delays as well because you're going through a converter board, then to an LCD, plus the LCD delay. So there's a little bit of issues.
You have to turn it on with a remote control every day.
Exactly. That'd be another
really
headache to it.
irritating.
So this is why we always recommend getting arcade commercial quality LCDs, Tim. Ones that are fully compatible that you just hook up. So, I mean, Tim, it's really up to Robert as to what he wants to do. He can spend $100 or less, just replace the flyback, and probably be in good shape. He may need a hot. He may need diodes. He may need some other high voltage section stuff. Okay, he may. Just depending on how extensive the damage is from the arcing. But I'm thinking under $100 he can have it working, whereas $200 to $300 if he wanted to replace it. How's that sound?
And it's always worth it. It's kind of the fun for us is to try to get in there and fix it.
Exactly. So, I mean,
at least give it a shot.
Right. So why not try to fix it?
If nothing else, you can sell the chassis with it as is with a new flyback.
Exactly.
Somebody will want it.
That's right. Exactly. Somebody will take your chassis if you've done some work to it, even if it's not fully working. So always looking for new chassis, right, Tim?
Oh, yeah.
So there you go. So really it's up to you, Robert, as to whether you want to go with a new one or an old one. Now, Tim, if he has let's say he has a 25 or 27-inch tube in there, the price goes up quite a bit. Looking at $400 to $600 for a monitor at that point, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas a flyback will still only cost you about $100 or less.
Sure.
So if you have a larger monitor, it's definitely going to be worth going with the flyback price-wise.
Probably so.
So there you go. So Robert, hopefully answers your question, and let us know what you decide to do in your WWF WrestleFest game. Tim, a game I love to play. WrestleFest.
And we would say that I have seen people use silicone and try to seal up the cracks and stuff.
Exactly. You can
I would definitely say that would be a temporary solution. If it's at the point where sparks are shooting out of it, go ahead and replace it.
That's the operator,
right?
Tim, that's the operator on location. Don't have a flyback with me fix,
right?
Okay,
we've seen plenty of those.
And here's the thing: if you can't get a flyback, that's another solution, right? Because flybacks are getting hard to find for certain monitors.
And JB Weld would be another
there you
one.
Go. There you go. So, Robert, hopefully answered your question. Let us know what you decide to do with your game.
All right, get your paper and pen out.
Oh, here we go. Your paper and pen?
Yeah,
paper and pen.
Well, or computer.
Are they gonna write a letter to enter the contest?
They need to know where to send it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, well, again, we're gonna say this again. We are giving away a Retrobit RES 501 game cartridge, and Tim, we're giving away some mini arcades tonight. That's the other prizes. We got them all over here. So if you would like to win this Retrobit RES 501 game cartridge combo or a mini arcade, please send an email to contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, your address, and your favorite arcade repair tips moment. If you have one, don't have to throw it in there. We'll still let you win anyway. Winners will be announced at the end of this show. So please, go ahead and send those over, Tim. Let's see how we're doing so far for contest entries. I know it's riveting whenever I check this because it's just like dead air for a second. I feel like I have to keep talking while I'm trying to click all this stuff. But let's see how we're doing so far. See if we've got any other entries in. And oh, there we go. Oh, we got some more. There we go. Entries are in. Oh, Tim, not everybody's going to win tonight.
Okay.
So there you go. We have enough that some of you may go home empty-handed, but that's okay. Right? That's okay. So there you go. But thank you guys for entering. Exactly. And we'll be announcing the winners at the end of the show. So there we go. We'll go ahead and put this up. Let's see. YouTube Punk. Guy who told me Let's see. The guy who sold me my cab said use JB Weld. I didn't see it, but he plunged it in, and I heard it arc. So there you go. Okay, well, there you go, Tim. So gotta be careful with that stuff, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
For sure.
Okay, Tim. Let's see where we're at in the outline here. Oh, Retro Amigo, YouTube Punk. It's your question. This is one that he sent via a private message on Twitter, Tim. And he says, hello there. Can Tim and John cover this topic again? I rescued this Sony Trinitron from the curb before the city bulk trash collectors hauled it away. Tim, it is also a bulk trash collection here. For those people who don't know what that is, basically you can put anything out on the curb and the guys will pick it up.
Couch, old refrigerator,
mattresses, televisions, just like this one that Retro Amigo found. You can put anything out there. Tim, it's a great day to just go by and get free stuff.
Right.
You can get all sorts of free stuff on Bulk Trash Week. So there you go. So he's obviously having Bulk Trash Week. Found a Sony Trinitron. Tim, how can he determine if this 27-inch tube is compatible with a chassis in an arcade cabinet? Can you walk me through it, please? I think there's a website, but I can't remember the name. Thanks, guys. So, Tim, Retro Amigo found a 27-inch tube in the trash, picked it up, and now wants to know, can he use that for an arcade chassis? Or can he use that with an arcade chassis?
It's possible.
Yes.
If it's compatible, you can check the vertical and the deflection readings off the yoke. You read the ohms.
Right.
And then, but one of the main things is...
I always forget the color combinations. There's one set of colors that you check for horizontal. There's one set of colors you check for vertical.
Yeah.
We put the website down below, and we're going to talk about that here in a second.
But one of the main things that I know is that it has to fit the neck board.
I believe you have a saying for this. If the neck doesn't fit, you must quit.
Yeah, you must quit. Just quit. The neck doesn't fit, you got to quit.
That's right. There's no way to change that because the actual neck pins are part of the tube, not the yoke.
Right.
Okay, so you can swap yokes, but I mean you can't. The tube is the tube. It is what it is. So if the neck board doesn't fit, you must quit. So there you go. But Tim, the other thing that you mentioned is very important too. Making sure that your horizontal and vertical readings off of your deflection.
Right.
Making sure that is within tolerance, which usually is like 1 to 2 ohms. Tim, a lot of times people say anything less than 10 ohms is okay. Difference.
Wow.
But it really
I like
depends.
it to be a little closer than
that.
that.
You really want it to be close, I think, and that's what it comes down to. So, let's talk about that.
I think it's called measuring impedance or something like that.
Right.
They show that so good on that website that
I'm going to... The 8liners website, which we used to recommend all the time, is now down, so now you have to use the Internet Archive to get there.
Right.
We have a short link for you, though, so you guys can do that.
Yeah, so I would definitely, at this point, I'll quit talking. They're so good. Just check these links out on the next page.
Well, let's go ahead and say this. In order to tell if your tube is compatible with the modern chassis, you need to make sure that the horizontal and vertical deflection readings off the yoke, measured in ohms, are within tolerance. 1 to 2 ohms is what we like. And that the plug on the end of the tube neck matches the socket on the neck board of the chassis. If the neck board doesn't fit,
you must quit.
You must quit. That's exactly right. So there it goes. So that's the very first thing, in fact, you should check. If the neck board doesn't fit, you must quit.
Get the shotgun out and have some practice with that too.
There you go. Now, the second thing you want to check is the horizontal and vertical readings, Tim. And the 8liners website actually tells you like what, like how to read the horizontal, how to read the vertical.
Walks you through it.
Exactly, walks you through it. And so instead of just doing it all here, we'll let you go to that. And I put it down there, bit.ly/8liners-tube-swap has information on how to measure vertical horizontal deflection. Now, the junknet.net/DonorTVs, Tim, has a list of TV models with compatible tubes, but it's not comprehensive. It's just a couple. But the bigger thing it has a list of is the horizontal and vertical readings for chassis, which is really handy.
Yeah.
So if you have a 7,000 chassis and you want to know what the horizontal and vertical readings are for compatibility, you can go on there and see. What we usually do is we take the tube that was in there and we check it, and then we check the tube that we have.
Right.
Now, if they don't match, you can swap the yoke.
Correct.
We don't like doing that.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun.
Yoke swaps are very difficult because getting it on properly and getting the picture aligned can be very difficult.
Once you get those rings out and balance and stuff, it gets kind of tricky.
Exactly. So it can be very difficult. Yeah. Do not recommend yoke swapping. You can do it though. It is possible to do yoke swap. I mean, it's not hard, Tim. You can pull a yoke off. You can put a yoke on. Right. That's not the hard part. The hard part is getting it set in. And, Tim, we have a great article that was, I can't even remember the guy's name, and I should, that actually discusses that, right?
Okay.
Actually discusses how you can put the little little strips in in order to do it. And I forget, man, I should remember that. It's on our website. You guys can see it.
Website.
That's right. So there you go. If you go to the website, you can find one on it. It's Modern Convergence. Something like that. Something about monitor conversions. I should know that off the top of my head. But he discusses exactly how you go about shimming up the yoke to make the picture proper, to make it look proper on the tube. And it's a process, Tim. It is a very slow process of just trial and error. But once you get it, Tim, it looks great. So there you go. Okay. So YouTube Punk, kind of in a follow-up here, says multimeter will read ohms, right?
Yes.
Yes, it's the little upside-down horseshoe thing.
There you go. Look like the Omega or something.
Yes, I forget what the... Yeah, I think Omega is the symbol, the Greek.
Yeah, so upside-down horseshoe. Upside-down
horseshoe is always what we've called it. Tim always has great names for everything, so there you go. Upside-down horseshoe is what you're looking for in measuring ohms on your multimeter. And Tim, we actually had a meter deal today on the Facebook page for $5.
If you missed that and you're in the live chat right now, you should go to our Facebook page.
It's already gone.
Is it
gone?
They
sold out.
Wow.
They sold out at 1 o'clock. So $5 for an auto ranging meter, Tim.
Wow.
Okay, with beep test, with beep continuity testing. I mean, it was just a fantastic deal for those who did it. So, Tim, now we got some other stuff here from Retro Amigo that I'm gonna show you here. Here we go. Here, let's see. Also, is Tim selling off some of his personal collection? So, Tim, you got a Chuck E. Cheese cosplay costume anywhere in the closet? Now, you notice what this one's selling for. I think it's $10,000. So $10,000 for the Chuck E. Cheese costume here.
Well, let's just say if you want to pay $10,000 for a costume, I can hook you up.
There you go.
If you have $10,000 to spend on a costume,
you will take care of it. You will find a Chuck E. Cheese costume. Is that what you're saying?
I can even get more than one.
There you go. For $10,000.
For $10,000.
So there you go.
No,
there you go. Well, he asked a question. Are you selling off some of your personal collection here?
Now, is that just a costume, or is that the animated character himself?
That is just the costume.
Okay.
I believe. So I'll have to look at the auction just to be sure, but I think it is just the costume.
Yeah, just a FYI, that's a lot more than it is new. So.
Oh, really?
I would just buy a new one.
There you go. So okay, so you are not selling off your collection,
no,
for the record. Okay,
no,
that's just what I want to
it's all still in my closet. Well, I mean, it's still at work.
Okay, so let's see here. Jeff Cunningham said, would this apply to touchscreens too? And I assume he means the tube swapping. Yes, but you'll have to have the touchscreen overlay on the tube.
Right.
Okay, removing that from a tube can be tricky. Like removing the overlay from the tube can be tricky because a lot of times they're stuck on, and when you peel them off, they leave residue and they don't work right. So if you have a tube though that already had a touchscreen on it, yes, tube swapping is the same regardless of if it's a touchscreen or not a touchscreen, right?
Right.
So there you go. Okay, Tim, I think we're at the point here in the show where you get to talk about your tech tip.
Yeah, we're
So why don't you give us an introduction real quick, and then we'll throw up the slide. What is Tim's tech tip for this month?
Well, today we're going to talk about splicing two wires together.
Okay.
They've already been stripped.
Okay.
There's kind of two techniques, and you can go ahead and show the slide if you want, John.
Sure.
The first one.
Why don't you give us your little visuals?
All right. The first one is where you take the two. And this would be a wire, and this would be a wire, and you put them together like side by side. And then you twist them with usually on this kind of connector, you use like a wire nut.
Right.
Then the other one is more straight, and then you're going to twist them around like that.
Okay, so what is the side by side one called?
That would be more of a pigtail.
Pigtail, and what's this one called?
It would be more like an inline or inline like this.
Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. Which one do you recommend, Tim?
Well, in certain situations, I can use a pigtail just for speed and convenience. Here's where I mostly use pigtails, up like a light.
Sure.
Where I just want to tap into the AC wires, and if I have to take the whole light fixture out, I want to unscrew that wire nut and be able to undo it really quick.
Sure.
So where you want to do that is something like that, and also, in my opinion, where nobody else is going to see.
Sure.
Okay? To me, the inline method is much more professional looking. You cover it up with heat shrink. That's where you would want to do like close to your JAMA connectors or in a place with not much room, because if you pigtail everything, it gets really messy in there and gets really spread out and wires are going everywhere. It's very professional looking to learn how to do it the inline way. I actually learned that method from Atari.
I was about to say, it's in the book.
It's in the book on how to wire, and it actually has reasoning for making a better connection. So, both will get the job done. One just looks to me a lot neater, and but it's also harder if you needed to disconnect it. You'd have to cut it, and then you have to unwrap them. So it kind of depends. Is it an area Like I said, I use the pigtail kind, like in a light, where I want to take that fixture down real quick. I just undo the wire nuts. I'm done with it. Put it back in there, wire it up, wire nut. I'm good.
Sure.
So that's the only time I like that's for convenience. Most of the time, I'm going to highly recommend that you do an inline wiring. That's a tip of the month.
So we'll go ahead and put it up here, Tim. Now I should mention that before I met you, I did everything with pigtails.
A lot of
because
new
I did
people
right. And when the first time I
that.
saw you do the inline, I was like, "What are you doing?" Because to me, it didn't make sense. That wasn't making as good a connection. But it sure does look a whole lot more professional, Tim.
Yeah.
Like when you see it, if you can match the heat wrap to the color of the wire, it's hard to tell even that there was ever a splice made.
Right.
And that's what it really comes down to. So let's go ahead and put up the slide here, Tim. Use the inline technique to splice wires. And somebody said, which Atari book? The Bible.
The
right.
book.
The book.
Called
Atari, the book.
The Book by Atari.
Right. And we have a link to it on our website, Tim, I believe, under books.
And I bet there's some free downloads on the net.
Yeah, and we have a link to it. You can download it. How many pages is it? It's quite a bit.
Gosh.
It's
About
large.
200
Tim
pages.
used to have an actual printed version that he had put in a binder. Not an original book, but
Right.
like a printed version that he had put in a big binder that we used to use, because it is pretty much the Bible. And if people, Tim, always ask us, like, where's a good place to start with arcade repair?
Great places.
The book. Atari the book is the place to start. So there you go. So back to your tech tip here, Tim. There are two primary techniques that people like to use when they splice wires together: pigtail and inline. Pigtail splice involves placing two wires side by side with the ends pointing in the same direction and twisting them together. This technique disrupts the natural direction of the wires, leaves a kink in the connection that could lead to problems later, and just looks ugly.
Yeah.
That's what we say. The inline splice involves placing the wires end to end, like you mentioned, Tim, overlapping them over each other. Okay, this technique keeps the natural direction of the wires and gives the splice a more professional look. Some claim that the inline splice can be difficult, but the results are worth the extra time, right?
Yes.
Tim? And pigtails can be quicker, but, I mean, the professional look that you get with inline, and Tim, you can even see it here in just the pictures I put, it looks a lot more professional. Like I said, if you can get the heat shrink to match the color of the wire, it's hard to tell that there was even a splice made.
Right, but if you were to wire up a 20-something pin harness, all pigtails, it just looked like a cluster up there. And I've seen some of those, especially in pinball games, where somebody has just taken the old connector out because it burned, and then they just got all these wire nuts in there. It just looks trashy. Make it look professional, and learn how to wire inline like that. Now, the trick that I use is I make sure and strip both wires plenty.
Right.
And then I cross them like an X right in the middle, and then I twist the wires with both hands. Twist this one this way, twist this one that way. Now I'm constantly doing that. When I get through, we can play tug of war where that thing is not coming off. Pigtail wires will actually pull off a little easier also. So
now it should be mentioned that we use solder
now
on them anyway.
Once I get done with that, I solder over it and then slide the heat shrink on heat gun. And then it's very professional looking, looks great. And I think, in my personal opinion, like you're saying, the flow of electricity is less interrupted, and everything seems to work a lot better when I do it that way.
There you go. So, guys, thank you for your tech tip, Tim. If you guys have any questions about Tim's tech tip, please let us know in the live chat, and we'll talk about it there. Okay. So there you go. Thank you for your tech tip, Tim.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now, let's see. RC Outdoor says, do you solder the inline before using the heat shrink?
Yes.
Yes, we absolutely do. So we usually keep the heat shrink off of the connection enough to where we can solder that area and it not affect the heat shrink. Because if you get the heat shrink hot, it will close up.
Yeah,
so you want to move
slide
that down
it
on
way
the wire.
back as far as you can anyway. Another common thing that I've seen a lot of newbies do is just skip the soldering altogether because it's already making a connection.
Right.
Just put the heat shrink on it and shrink it down. I do highly recommend that you do solder across it, kind of like we call it painting it. Just paint it all over so that you don't want it real thick and globby, but just a real light coating all the way across.
There you go. So hopefully answers your
really
question, RC Outdoors. And again, thank you for your tip on tonight's show, Tim. That tech tip was a really good one. And Tim, I think we've talked about doing a video on connecting wires together and the multiple methods that you can do it. And so that may make it into that video at some point.
And this is just about splicing wires. You know, you use butt connectors and a lot of other different connectors that I use all the time. They work a lot. They work good too, and especially in a hurry and in a pinch. But when you have the time, I definitely recommend the splice method.
There you go. Now, Tim, we should we have several entries here, but I'm going to remind everybody again because we're getting close to contest time.
I've got
giveaway time.
I've got the generator ready to
okay, the random number generator.
The random number generator.
There we go. So, again, guys, we're giving away several prizes tonight for our 10th anniversary, Tim. 10th anniversary show. That's where we're at. And we're about to start talking about some memorable arcade repair tips moments. But before we do, we want you to enter our contest. You can win a Retrobit RES with a 501 game cartridge, Tim. And all you have to do is send an email to contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, your address, and your favorite arcade repair tips moment if you have one. That's not a requirement, but we would like you to share. If you do, we will be sharing those, Tim, later in the show. We're talking about all that kind of stuff. Winners will be chosen at random and announced at the end of the show. And Tim, again, contest@arcaderepairtips.com. Don't send it to any of our other email addresses. Okay, contest@arcaderepairtips.com. Okay, so there we go. We will be drawing that here in just a bit at the end of the show. So, okay, Tim. So I guess we're getting into our discussion portion here.
Okay.
And so the first. Oh, do we have anything in there? I'm just looking. So, you want to see if we have any more entries?
Sure.
Okay, we'll look real quick. Like I said, just riveting television here. Just people watching me check my email. I love this, you know. So, okay, let's see. We get a couple more in. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple more. Look at that. Okay, there we go. We got quite a few.
Okay.
Quite a few. Thank you, guys. So we will be talking about those at the end of the show, though. Tim, to the discussion portion of the show. Did you hear something about this guy Billy Mitchell and records getting pulled?
There
and all
was
this kind of stuff?
Something about that.
Okay, you heard a little something about that. Okay, for those of you guys who aren't in the know, you may know who Billy Mitchell is. King of Kong, Tim, the movie. Yes, there you go. You don't have your tie on.
I know.
Or, you know, and work is for people who can't play video games, I believe is a quote, something like that. But Billy Mitchell, a long-time record holder in several different games, Tim, I guess we could say. But a lot of people don't realize those records are held by Twin Galaxies.
Right.
Okay, well, Twin Galaxies made the decision to revoke all of Billy Mitchell's records. And so let's talk about that for a second here.
All right.
So, dispute decision. Billy Mitchell's Donkey Kong and all other records removed. Okay, and you guys can read this. There's a link down below in the section. On August 28th, 2017, Twin Galaxies member Jeremy Young filed a dispute claim, assertion against the validity of Billy Mitchell's historical and current original arcade Donkey Kong score performances based on the complete body of evidence presented in the official dispute thread. Twin Galaxies administrative staff has unanimously decided to remove all of Billy Mitchell's scores as well as ban him from participating in competitive leaderboards. That's a pretty big ban.
Yeah, it is.
That's like bringing down the ban hammer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, Thor style.
Yeah, that's like Pete Rose not getting in the Hall of Fame.
There you go. You think he should?
Yeah, I think he should.
We can debate that later. That's right, we're not debating that. So, guys, we thought that this would be a great topic for our arcade debate segment, Tim. And tonight, did Twin Galaxies do the right thing by removing all of Billy Mitchell's records? And Tim, we're going to let the live chat members sit in on this. But right now, Tim, it is time. It is time. Here we go. Boom. For the arcade debate. Welcome to the arcade debate segment for tonight. Tonight, Tim, did Twin Galaxies do the right thing by removing all of Billy Mitchell's records? Or, we've got it down here, Twin Galaxy removes Billy Mitchell's records. Was it right? So, Tim, where do you come down on this topic?
I'm going to say no. They should not have removed all of his records. Maybe if just some of them that we are in question.
Well, I'm going to say that they did do the right thing, Tim, because, you know, if you can't trust one record, can you trust any of them? Just saying. So, Tim, defend your position. Why do you think they should not have removed all of Billy Mitchell's records?
Well, there is no doubt going way back that Billy Mitchell was a great player and that he's the only person to ever play a perfect game of Pac-Man. And so, you know, you can't erase 30 or 40 years worth of records just because of a later mistake. And so I do believe that Billy deserves some of his records to be upheld because they were done in legit tournaments and were people watching and live.
Okay, so you're saying that it's okay that they maybe just remove some of them, but not all of them. Is that correct?
Well, yes, I think that some of the records, if they were in dispute or have been proven, should have been removed, but not every record. He was wiped clean. He was kicked out of baseball just like Pete Rose, and I think that's kind of a little unfair because some of his stuff was done many years ago.
Okay, well, let me give you the counterpoint to that. I do think the Twin Galaxies did the right thing here, Tim, because how do you know which records were good and which ones were bad? I mean, trying to sort through all the records is very difficult. And so instead of trying to sort through all of them, we don't know which ones he may have cheated on, he may not have cheated on, but we do know, apparently from the evidence, that there's enough cheating going on to remove at least some. Well, if you're going to remove some, how do you know which ones to remove? I say it's good to remove them all.
Well, you use the word cheating, Jonathan, like he set out to do this. The problem was he was playing it in MAME. And a lot of these records were set before MAME was ever even invented, when somebody would have been calling it Mammy or something because they wouldn't have known how to pronounce it. So I say any record pre-MAME that couldn't have possibly been done in MAME that was done at a live show and a live audience should have stood.
I can see your live show argument, Tim, but again, now here's the deal. Here may be something we can agree on, is that I'm not sure that they should have banned him from all events. Okay, because I feel like, look, I don't mind if your records are in there, but like you said, let's make sure that they were all at live events. Okay, because that seems to be the way to basically take away any kind of disruption, right? Like, I mean, if there were 100 witnesses there that saw you do it live, that's got to be a valid score, right?
Right.
And so I think we can find common ground on the fact that I don't know if they should have banned him, but I still feel like removing the records was the right thing to do because, I mean, like we said, we don't know. There may have been other cheating going on even before MAME, Tim, that we may not have been aware of. We do know about the quote-unquote MAME cheating, where we have these videos of people breaking down video showing that he did play it in MAME, but at the same time, like we said, who's to say that there wasn't other cheating involved with some of the other scores that he had? That's all I'm saying.
Because Billy has at least 5 friends that will back him up. And they will.
At least 5.
At least 5.
Okay, well, if it's 5, then, if I can get 5 people together, it must be true, right?
It must be.
Yeah, and I read it on the internet. It must be true. But, I mean, in all seriousness, Tim, I mean, I like Billy Mitchell. We've met him before. He's a nice guy. But in this particular case, I think they did the right thing. Now, Tim, I've heard that Billy Mitchell may have evidence to some of these claims. He may actually have some evidence that will show that some of these records are valid. And if he can present said evidence, I say it's okay for them to put those records back in. What do you say?
Well, you got to know that Billy has a lot of stuff riding on this, so he needs to come forth with the evidence if it's true. But I think he had Trump's lawyer, and I think a lot of it got confiscated.
There you go. Well, and I understand that, but here's the deal. Like I said, I think it's better to throw everything out and then revalidate than it is to try to validate, like, right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that's my point. Let's throw everything out. Let's start from a clean slate, and let's let the evidence speak for itself. We'll take each one case by case, and if he can provide evidence that some of the scores were valid, we'll let those scores back in. I think that's okay.
Why not show up and have a new contest?
Exactly. I don't have any problem with a recompetition. Tim, they banned him from all competition at this point, which I do think is extreme. I think you would agree.
Yes.
So, because I feel like, let him clear his name. Right, like, so, right, exactly. So if he had a score of 1 million whatever on Donkey Kong and he can achieve that live, let him get away with it. Now, maybe, Tim, we get to a point where he only can do live scores. Okay, right. Like you cannot submit anything on a video because of what has transpired. But at the same time, if you can do it live, you got 100 people there, I think there's something to be said about that.
Now, let me come over to your side for a little bit, Johnson. Just say that... let's just say we're choosing to debate something that is a hot topic right now. But, really back in the day, Billy Mitchell, there's a lot of great players.
Absolutely.
He was one of them.
Right.
He wasn't, and I think he has kind of built himself up to be this arcade god of larger than life than he actually is.
Right, exactly.
And so when you take a little of the media hype out of it and a lot of stuff, I think that you'll see that he's pretty average as far as some of the world record players.
Sure.
I don't think that's as big a shakeup in the community as you would normally think. There were a lot of better players way back in the day.
Right, but I think there's something that we can't
But
dispute.
it's hard to race all the records unless he can prove that they, I get it. He really does need to come forth with some proof because some of the case looks very damaging.
Well, and here's the deal, Tim. I think we can all say... I don't think this is in dispute. I think we can both agree that Billy is a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. I've seen him play Pac-Man. He's good. And he knows how to play. I mean, I'm not saying he's like tippity top good. Maybe he's not like top level player. You know what I'm saying, in some of these games, but he is a good video game player. There's no doubt in my mind. Yes, I think a lot of it may be built up folklore that's happened, and maybe that's why a lot of this stuff has kind of come out. But at the same time, he is a good player. I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah. And so I think the best solution is to bring forth the evidence, Billy, back yourself up, or show up and prove that you are who you say you are.
And on that, we can agree, and on that, we will end our debate segment. Thank you, Tim, for joining me tonight and for doing the debate segment. Now, let's find out, Tim, what the community has to say. Let's go ahead and go over to our outline. Now, these are all messages, Tim, from our community.
Okay.
Louis said, of course, one of our community managers, I don't think all should have been removed, but definitely some of them. It's actually nice to see Twin Galaxies not propping him up like they used to. Tim, Louis agrees with you.
I think so.
So, Jason, who would have thought there'd be so much drama surrounding a video game? Man, of course there's a lot of drama. El Capitan, it really doesn't have to do with the video game. It has to do about upholding the integrity of Twin Galaxies. It's similar to athletes that have lost their titles due to the discovery that they were cheating. The title is meaningless if you allow competitors to cheat. It's
Kinda
also
like
unfair.
Lance Armstrong.
Exactly. It's also unfair that to those who actually succeed without cheating, and that's exactly correct. Chris says, weren't some of those scores done back in the 80s? I'm sure some of the scores have scrolled down pretty low on the list by now. What about the Pac-Man stuff? Don't know. Jeff says, dang, did he use MAME for more than just Donkey Kong, or did he just piss off Twin Galaxies? I don't think it's really either one of those. I mean, there's pretty good evidence that he used MAME on Donkey Kong. I don't think he pissed off Twin Galaxies. I think that they had a dispute, they investigated, and they found something. That's what it comes down to. Steven says, there's a ton of videos on YouTube about this and how Billy was using MAME. So, Tim, with all that said, let's check in with the live show audience and see what they said. Let's go here. First, I saw that Eric is in the live chat with us tonight. He wishes happy 10 years. And, of course, Eric is one half of the Question and Answer podcast. Tim.
Yes.
So, thank you, Eric, for the happy 10-year mention. Okay, so let's go on here. We've got... YouTube Punk says, I think the evidence shows he used MAME, but he's still a solid player. Same thing we said, Tim, still a good player. Matt says, I agree with Tim. There's one for Tim.
Right.
Bing. So, okay, let's see. Edward says, I say they should have left the live events alone. Okay, so there's something to talk about. Mofasta says, I agree with Tim.
All right.
Man, I just can't win tonight. Let's see. YouTube Punk says, Billy Mitchell always has a plan. Go ahead.
Yeah, here's my deal. When I play in MAME, I'm not any better.
Right. But I mean, there are hacks.
Either way.
There are hacks and there are things you can do in MAME that you can't do on an actual cabinet.
But did they do that? You know, that's what I'm saying. Did he really have that intention, or was it just a way to play it?
Right, exactly. That's a good question. I don't know. RC Outdoors, let's see. They should have removed the relevant emulated ones and give him the opportunity to redo them, not completely ban him. YouTube Punk says, if he had Trump's lawyer, the lawyer would have admitted he cheated. Yeah. So there you go. Seahorse, let's see. What is that? Seahorses All Night. There you go. It says, Walter Day would say it's not that someone got banned from Twin Galaxies, it's that Billy Mitchell got banned from... It's not that someone got banned from Twin Galaxies, it's that Billy Mitchell got banned from Twin Galaxies. So, I mean, that is a difference. Diego says, just saying some different stuff. Thank you, brother. Game on. Twin Galaxies has a new owner, and he had enough of Billy. And that could be part of it. Absolutely.
Maybe.
Joe says, thanks, guys, for the info on my BurgerTime, and the monitor is the original Decade one. Not sure of the model right now off the top of my head. So Joe was just telling us an update on Joe's BurgerTime. Apparently, we don't know what the model is of it. So, yes, compare that to the photos on the realbobroberts.net, What's My Monitor page, and then you can find out what your monitor is in your game. Okay, Tim, I think we covered everything.
Yeah.
Lots of discussion, man. That was a good one. So, always good to debate, Tim. Even when we don't agree or we do agree or whatever.
Most of the time we agree. We just pick sides.
That's right. That's exactly right. So I don't know. I mean, I do feel like maybe it was better just to kind of clean the slate and then let him prove if he's got evidence for it. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? But anyway. Oh, there's one. I agree with Jonathan. Boom.
Okay.
So
you're still behind.
I'm still behind. You're exactly right. Okay, Tim, is this the last reminder we're going to have? This is the last reminder, guys.
Okay.
So this is the last reminder we're going to put in here before we draw for the prizes tonight.
Getting ready.
We are giving away several prizes tonight for our 10th anniversary, including a Retrobit RES with 501 game cartridge. To enter the giveaway, please send an email to contest@arcaderepairtips.com with your name, your address, and your favorite arcade repair tips moment. Tim, we're about to go through those.
Got to include
here
your
in a
address.
second. Yes, got to include your address because we need a place to send your prize to. Winners will be chosen at random and announced at the end of the show. Tim, YouTube Punk says $10 for 10 years. Thanks for all the content. Woohoo!
Wow,
Thank you for the $10. We appreciate it. We appreciate all donations, of course. So thank you for that, YouTube Punk. We do appreciate it. But YouTube Punk can win tonight, Tim.
Yes.
A lot of people can win tonight. You can win a prize tonight. All you have to do is send us an email at contest@arcaderepairtips.com. Name, address, and favorite arcade repair tips moment if you have one. Not a requirement to enter. So there you go. Okay, Tim. So we have a couple of... we have one more discussion question here. And Tim, this got a lot of play on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And it was the 23 retro arcade games that deserve their own movies. And Tim, this is from Tom's Guide. We have a link here. It's also down in the show information below. And with the release of Rampage, we have started wondering what about other retro arcade games that might deserve their own movie?
Right.
Which ones are
Good
on
question.
your list? So, Tim, let's talk about some of the ones that came from the list on Tom's Guide. There was Gauntlet, Shinobi, War Gods, Missile Command, Primal Rage, Joust, Defender, Spy Hunter, Sinistar, and Metal Slug. That's just a few. Okay, now some of the people on social media gave us Contra, Dig Dug, Galaga, Robotron, Splatterhouse, Rygar, Rolling Thunder, Final Fight, Tubin, Berserk, Crazy Taxi, and Outrun. So, Tim, let's start to you. What is an arcade game that you think, retro arcade game, that you think deserves its own movie?
Well, after seeing Rampage, I really liked.
Oh, you saw Rampage?
Well, yeah. I thought.
You didn't tell me that.
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay, I saw. You say I saw Rampage.
I saw Rampage.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh,
and
really?
So I mean, there's things about movies that we're gonna say a little cheesy and stuff, but overall, I mean, it's a video game movie. It's
Why
cool.
don't you just give us your letter grade overall of that? Just real
probably
quick.
a B plus.
B plus. Okay.
Yeah, so it's a good movie.
There you go.
I mean, entertaining value, but then I start thinking of movies that I would like. That mine would probably be Sinistar, something like
Sinistar would be pretty cool.
like you're in space and this thing is after you and you beware he lives and he's putting together somehow. So maybe that would be my movie.
Kind of thinking about it, somebody made a really compelling pitch for Contra. I think it's starring John Cena and maybe The Rock or something like that. That was a very compelling pitch.
Contra would be a good
because
one.
you're fighting aliens in space. There you go. So kind of really good. Tim, Shinobi would be good. I could see that. Missile Command. Having to defend the world from an onslaught, a missile attack or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Could be compelling. So,
Right.
but anything like that. Let's see. Edward says Elevator Action Star Castle. Matt says Tron.
Okay.
Already done. Sorry. So if you guys have any, go ahead and throw them in the live chat. We'll read them off real quick. Let's see, Galaga. And Galaga, I believe, was on the list too, Tim. Galaga, of course, is a personal favorite of mine. We got one back here, and maybe something on that would be really cool. Let's see, Mr. Do. What do you think about Mr. Do?
Mr. Do.
So there you go. You guys can continue to give responses, Tim. Anything else that you want to talk about on this before we move on?
No, I just think that that was a great discussion on the Facebook page, and we did get a lot of responses on that. So if you haven't read all those, go back to the Facebook page and look at some
YouTube
of
Punk
those.
said Pong. Somebody on the Facebook page said Pong. Come on.
Yeah.
So
Be a little bit more exciting than Pong, maybe.
that's right. Pong would be tough, I think. How do you
think
write
so.
an entire script around Pong?
I'm not sure.
Of course, Tron didn't have a whole lot. Let's see. Somebody just said a clown being chased by unicorns. There you go. Great movie, right?
Right. But in no Tron movie whatsoever does he get sucked up and go like this with his arm.
That's right.
So it's
He
not
always just holds the
realistic.
disc up.
I know, it's not really realistic.
That is true. So there you go. Okay, so if you guys have any other movies or retro games that you think should be made into movies, let us know and we'll read them off in the live chat here. Let's see. Bionic Commando. That's a good one. I like that.
Okay.
Guy with a bionic arm kind of reaches things and stuff. Fighting Nazis, technically. So there you go. Arkanoid. Arkanoid, there you go, with the little...
Okay.
kind of like Breakout with power. So, Ghouls and Goblins. That's pretty good. No, you can make a lot. I mean, that has kind of a good Tapper. There you go.
Okay.
Like Root Beer Tapper or Budweiser Tapper. Punch Out, Smash TV. Well, we got a whole bunch of them coming in. Moon Patrol.
Okay.
There you go. So we'll continue on, guys. But yeah, if you have any others, let us know. We'll read them off in the live chat. Well, Tim, this is the point where we'd probably be wrapping up the show, but this is actually where we're gearing up to talk about the 10th anniversary of Arcade Repair Tips. And so let's go ahead and put up the slide real quick, Tim, and talk a little bit about the 10th anniversary. Can you believe it?
Wow.
10 years.
Of just this show. Not 10 years we've been hanging out working on games.
That's right, exactly. Of just Arcade Repair Tips.
10 years of Arcade Repair Tips.
There you go. So 10th anniversary celebration. Arcade Repair Tips website was launched on May 8th, 2008.
Wow.
So there you go. The first post was the parts of an arcade cabinet, which can still be found on the site.
I remember that.
Okay. The site now has our YouTube channel, everything. We have over 80 YouTube videos and 60 blog posts just on repair and restoration. Like, just on repair and restoration.
Right.
That doesn't count some of the other content that we have up there. We have more. Let's see. We've recorded over 70 audio podcasts answering questions from our audience. And, of course, Tim, I'm also including the ones that Eric has done.
Yes.
So, because those are part of it as well. We've released 4 DVDs with additional content. And we have streamed 15 live show episodes, counting this one.
You had a pretty busy 10 years.
Yeah, but, I look at Marvel and what they've accomplished in 10 years, and all of a sudden I don't feel like we've done that much.
They're coming out with a new movie a month.
That's right, exactly. So, because it's their 10-year anniversary. If you haven't seen Infinity
Yes.
War, it's their 10-year anniversary as well. So, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we should say that.
They probably made more money than us last
I
month.
would imagine so. So, Tim, a lot of people here may not know the history of Arcade Repair Tips, so I'm going to throw this slide up here and just kind of reiterate it for everybody. In 2001, which seems like forever ago, yes. Tim and Jonathan meet while Tim was shopping for a computer. I was working at Best Buy.
Uh-huh.
And you came in, and you were looking for a computer. I sold you a computer, and you said that you had some arcade games, and I said, sweet, when can I come over?
Right.
And that's about how it turned out. And so
you asked me, I believe, what was I going to do with the old computer?
That's right.
And I said I think I would make a MAME out of it.
That's right. And then we got...
But I don't know how to do the software.
Right, exactly. So that's where we got. So there you go. In 2002, we built a MAME cabinet.
Yes.
2002, Tim.
Wow.
16 years ago.
There we are.
Okay, that was before a lot of stuff exists now that makes it really easy to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we did that back in the olden days. And the computer we used, Tim, I believe was a 233 megahertz machine.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so, that's how long ago we used it was already an old PC by the standard, but it was even older.
I know what brand it was.
What was it? What?
Pionex.
Pionex, that's right. So,
from SR Superstore.
There you go.
Original.
SR Superstore, which is long gone now. We used to have one here in Tyler. I drive by where it was all the time. Okay, so there you go. And so we created Tim's MAME machine webpage.
Yes.
Okay. 2003, Tim and Jonathan start to focus more on repair and restoration. So we built the MAME cabinet, and then I just wanted to learn more about arcade repair in general. So we started doing just more arcade repair projects. And then in 2004, we renamed it to Tim's Arcade Restoration. And the reason why was because we weren't just focusing on MAME stuff anymore. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. 2005, we founded Varcade Entertainment. And we started a local arcade route. And we had several locations at one time.
People may wonder why we called it Varcade.
Right.
VARCADE. It stood for, the VAR stood for Virtual Arcade Room.
Right.
Because we like to build MAME cabinets that also had video jukeboxes and other things. So we had a virtual arcade in one room, kind of.
Right, exactly. And we sold several of those over the years.
And some of them are still in operation today.
That's right. Even built 15 years ago.
Wow.
So, yeah, if you've got a MAME cabinet that's lasted that long, right?
Yeah.
It must have been good. There you go. 2007, Tim, we got the biggest contract for a large local restaurant with 40-plus machines.
Yes.
And the picture in the upper right-hand corner of the thing up there actually shows that location. Me and Tim playing, I think it was Lethal Enforcers there.
Probably.
Lethal Enforcers 2. Or probably Area 51. One or the other. We had both of them there. But both of us playing a light gun game. And
I see the Starblade in the back
That's
corner.
right. There's a Starblade back there. We had 40-plus machines in that location. Tim, most of them were in an arcade room, but we also had a back room that had about 10 that had 3 pinball machines and like 3 arcade games, right?
Yes.
Or maybe about 6 back there. So we actually had quite a few machines at the at the location. But in 2008, Tim, just a year later, the restaurant closed because they weren't making money. We were making money. But they weren't making money. And so at that point, Tim, that was our largest location. We had several locations, but most of the locations we had were 5 or less games.
Yes.
And so, it's kind of like we had this really nice location with a whole bunch of games, and we just decided, you know what? It was such a headache. Because the game,
a lot of work.
In order to get the games out of there, that was the tough part. We didn't have access to those games because basically what happened was the restaurant didn't pay the landlord, and they just locked the doors on them.
Right.
And so they locked our games in there with them.
Right.
And we had to get with the landlord in order to let him get our games.
Yes.
Or get him to let us get our games, which was a big pain in the butt.
He didn't give us much time.
Right, he didn't give us much time, and it was just a big headache and hassle. So, I mean, we were kind of, I hate to say it, Tim, but we were kind of disenfranchised, or we were kind of, just not interested in doing much more route operations past that. And I think it was just because we had such a great experience, but then it closed, and we were like, well, what if we go into another place and it closes and stuff like that? We were making money. We had no problems making money.
Right.
The problem was finding the right locations that were going to stay in business. And then, Tim, from all of our frustration, though, in that, we founded Arcade Repair Tips. Because that's really what it came down to, is that, we were looking for a new way to kind of, a different way to put our name out there. And so my friend, Matt, had been making these websites where he put, just little blog posts. And I told Tim, I was like, we can make a website, put some blog posts up at Arcade Repair. And he was like, okay. So, and we did it. And that's what Arcade Repair Tips is today. So, okay, let's move on here. Now, Tim, let's talk about some of our favorite moments. You like the picture?
Yeah.
So, there you go. So, Tim, let's talk about some of our favorite moments. I put mine on here first, and I'm sure that you'll agree with me on some of these. Troubleshooting games that are playing blind is one of my favorite videos that we ever did. And this picture here comes from that. Okay, when you see the arcing...
Okay, yeah.
Okay, when you see the arcing, we had the idea that, okay, when we come back... That. Tim should be his hair should be messed up, like he got shocked.
Right.
And so that's where that came from. Tim, there's also a reference to Move That Bus in this video, which comes from Extreme Makeover Home Edition, if you guys remember that. So that's kind of a telltale sign of the time. But that video is very good. And Tim, if you don't have the extended cut, which I think is on our Volume 3 or Volume 4 DVD, the extended cut is long and shows every single thing we did.
Yes.
And
mistakes and all.
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of people say, you guys cut out a lot, or whatever. The extended cuts, we leave all that stuff in, and that's what happened with that video. So there's an extended cut. I think it's on either Volume 3 or Volume 4 that really shows everything. Tim, I also want to talk about some of the Blog Talk Radio live podcasts that we did. Do you remember these?
Yes.
And we would take calls. We didn't have
live
many calls. They had live calls. Imagine that. We're back to live. Live calls. And Tim, it seemed like everybody was trying to troll us. Yeah. I felt like every call that we got was a troll. And I thought we handled it very well. But there were definitely a lot of trolls in there. Just people calling random shows just to do it,
I guess so.
So, and then, Tim... all of the videos with Michael, I have a fondness for. And you talked about Michael earlier tonight. And I wish maybe we can get...
I miss Michael.
I miss Michael, too. Maybe we can do an interview with him or something like that. But just you and him would always crack me up. Anytime we had to film anything with you and him, I know Michael looks so reserved on camera.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm going to flip over real quick. He looks like he's just, straight-laced, right in. But when you turn that camera off, he is hilarious.
Yeah.
And he will make you laugh all the time.
He likes to joke around a lot.
That's right. He likes to joke around. And so
do we. We kind of would pick at each other, too,
So there would just be quick quips going back and forth between me and Tim and Michael, while we're filming. And I always felt like I was the one cracking up. Sometimes Tim would crack up, but there's a lot of bloopers on the blooper reels where Michael says something or Tim says something and we just start laughing. So
if you never watched our blooper reel on our DVDs, I think that they're funny.
And there's several with Michael that are really funny. And Tim, it was so much fun. He made it fun to shoot with him, and so that's why we loved having Michael. And Michael knew his stuff. Michael owned an electronics shop for a very long time. Had worked with electronics a long time, and he's moved away now. But we still every so often we'll keep in touch. But hopefully we can reach back out to Michael and maybe get him on for an interview or something like that, Tim. So there you go. Now, Tim, I sent you the text, what was your favorite moment, and you put replacing an arcade monitor unfinished. And now, Tim, you have to explain to people what that means. But it comes from our Volume 1 DVD. I can't tell you that. So what happened in replacing an arcade monitor unfinished?
What happened is it's getting kind of late in the day, and we're trying to wrap up this video. And as we're shooting it, clouds are coming in, it's getting kind of stormy, and Jonathan is saying, you make some kind of comment like, you need to hurry up before it gets dark or something, or before the electricity goes out. And I said, I know how to do this repair so well I could do it in the dark. Mm-hmm. As soon as I say that, there's a loud clap of thunder and it goes completely pitch black.
And it really did. It just we had several during the filming of that, and we ended up refilming that with the MAME cabinet, doing the replacing an arcade monitor with the MAME cabinet that we had at the time. But initially, it was supposed to be that centipede cabinet that we were supposed to be replacing the monitor in.
Right.
And because of the storms and everything, we just quit filming, and I put all that stuff in replacing an arcade monitor, unfinished edition, which you can get on our Volume 1 DVD. So,
if you've never seen that moment, and I actually fixed it in the dark. So.
Yeah, we did get it working. So there you go. It was working at the time. Tim, now we reached out on social media, and we asked some people like what their favorite arcade repair tips moments were, and so here's a couple. So Bob said the token of appreciation letter. So Tim, the first year that we were around, we used a really cheap standard resolution camcorder to film everything, which is why like our first videos look terrible.
If you remember, now in low def.
That's exactly now in low def. And so what we did on the website was we put a little widget, a chip-in widget, where people could donate and help us buy a new camcorder because we needed one desperately.
Yeah.
And this is how long ago it was, Tim. It was between the standard definition and high definition transition.
Right.
I mean, think about how long ago that was now. But what we would do is when people chipped in, no matter how much, we would send them this letter that says, thank you for donating. And we would send them a token that we had used in our route operations because we had a ton of them around.
Yeah.
So, and we called it a token of appreciation. And so we would print these out, and it just says thank you for your donation, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff. We'd sign them, we would tape the token to it, and we'd mail them out. And so that's what Bob got, and he says his token of appreciation letter was one of his favorite moments. Jason said, when Tim signed my soldering iron at the Southern Fried Gaming Expo 2016. And I put the picture up there, Tim, of you, signing.
I remember that moment.
Signing.
It's funny. Bob has a really interesting job.
Yes,
you remember where Bob works, and we did not know this at the time. But Bob works at a pretty cool business.
Yeah, I believe it's Pixar. At that point, they had not been...
he works at Pixar.
Yeah, they had not been bought by Disney.
I'm not sure what Bob does there, but I know he still listens and still watches because he brought that up. So thank you, Bob and Jason, for those.
Okay, so a couple other moments here, Tim. From social media, Nicholas says, I remember when it started, I need to get out of this hobby. I have nostalgia for when I started to have nostalgia.
Okay.
So there you go. And then Joe said, the podcast with the after show wrap was the greatest. Need to find what episode that was. Guess what, Tim?
Oh, no. I was fixing to say, that was what we call the lost tape episode. That we lost the tape forever.
I have the wrap right here. It was podcast episode 46.
Okay.
The very, very end. Tim, would you like to listen to it?
I really do not want to listen to it.
Okay, well, why don't we throw it to the live show then and see if they would like to listen to the wrap from episode 46 of the podcast. So, if you're in the live chat and you'd like to hear it, we'll go by the number of up and down votes. Yes and no. Okay. Just say yes if you want to hear it, no if you don't, and we'll play it here in a little bit. But Tim, in the meantime, we're going to go to some of these contest entries that have some moments in here. So I'm going to refresh it real quick and see. Oh, there's a yes. All right, Tim, you need to be telling them to vote no. So here we go. I'm going to, wrap on. There it is. Okay, here we go. I'm looking at the contest entries real quick. Okay, here we go. Let's see.
As weird as this is going to be, because this is live,
Michael says fire it up.
I'm going to step out and make a call.
Oh, okay.
In a live show, because this is live and I need to call work.
Okay.
But you guys carry on and listen if you want to listen to that god-awful rap.
That's how you know we're live, right there. Yeah. Oh, you just don't want to hear the rap. I see how it is. Don't close that door. You'll get locked out. Okay. Okay, so we got, it looks like everybody is pretty yes, Tim. I'm going to wait till you get back in here to actually play it. But let's talk about some of the audience entries. So we have your contest entries here, guys. We're going to read some of your stuff. Joe says, my favorite video is the one where Time shows how to wire up a 61 tabletop, and that's a really good one. We've had several wiring videos that are really good. Let's see. My favorite arcade repair tips moment is the, to pack cone or not to pack cone debate. I turned my Pac-Man into a snow cone machine comment on that episode. Lampooning games being defiled with extra buttons, LCD screen 16 once. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Long live arcade repair tips. Thank you, Jason, for that one. Okay, here we go. John says, my favorite episode so far, having only made it through half of the videos you have all done, is easily the troubleshooting games that are playing blind episode when you worked on fixing a Marvel Superheroes arcade cabinet. My favorite part was the move that bust moment when you revealed the newly fixed screen. The video, along with the CapKit replacement video and various others, are helping me work on a Zaxxon machine that I found that similarly plays blind. So his was troubleshooting games that play blind, Tim. Yeah, watch out for the mic there.
I think that was one of my favorite videos. That's one of our favorite videos to shoot, for sure.
There you go.
So thank you.
That's a great one. So, okay, let's see what else we got here. Okay, that's just a contest entry. I'm going through them here, Tim. My favorite episode is this one. There you go. There you go. It is the best one. There you go. The best one's always the most recent one, right?
Right.
That's how it works. Okay, let's see. My favorite episode was showing what tools to get in the toolbox. So your first arcade repair tips, or your first arcade toolbox, I believe, Tim, was what that one was called.
I like that.
That one is a very good one. We like that one a lot. Let's see. Favorite cutting plexiglass, which we actually did with the Weller, the little heat.
And because it crosses over to non-arcade videos, that's probably one of our most popular videos.
Exactly. That's a crossover.
I think it is our most popular video.
Exactly. Some of my favorite moments is Tim making offhand comments. For instance, you guys were plugging your DVDs, and Tim liked the new Slim cases. He said, "I want the new hotness." That really cracked me up. I also enjoyed your live show from the Hag and the uploaded video seminars. So we've done that a lot in the past. Let's see. Matt says, let's see. My favorite video is how to discharge a monitor. That's the moment I became less afraid of monitor repair.
We always say if we could do it, anybody could do it.
That's right, exactly. So, and Marcus says, just thanks, guys. Okay, nothing in there. So, Tim, I read all the ones from the audience. Those were all good moments.
Okay, thank y'all.
I'm feeling nostalgic now.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, 10 years is a long time.
I think my hair was actually brown back then.
I think it was.
Now it's gray. I got 2 teenagers. Give me a break.
And now, Tim, I'll just let you know there was not a single no in the thing. So you know what I gotta do.
If we must.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna play it. Here we go.
Do I actually have to listen to it too?
Yeah. So here we go. Oh, hang on a second. It's gonna take a second. There we go. Don't tell me I don't have it. Oh, there it goes.
Yo, Jonathan, you think anybody's still listening?
I don't know, Tim.
Man, it's Christmas. Let's throw down some tracks.
Well, we got the mic here. I guess we could throw down some hot beats and maybe a little freestyle rap. What do you think?
Yeah, let's give it a shot. Go ahead. Let's see what you got.
Okay, here we go. How you gonna like this, Tim? I'm telling you right now, you're gonna like this. This is gonna be right up your alley, man. Yeah, what do you think about that?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. 2014.
It's about to end.
That's right. 2014. Well, here we go now. Hey, Jonathan here from Arcade Repair Tips. Coming at you with a beat, make you shake your hips.
Oh, yeah.
Answering all of your questions from A to Z. Whether monitors, boards, or plastic bezels you see. Doing post, podcasts, videos, and more.
That's
selling our DVDs in our online store.
Not
helping
enough.
people out with our knowledge and skills. We don't make much money, but we pay our bills. Well, that's enough of me. I've done my share, but here's my man Tim, just to make it fair. Yo,
Well, my name is T.I.M. and I work at CEC.
Mouse.
People think my job is a pizza party.
Yeah.
Fixing games, pizza ovens, and other stuff too. And answering all those questions from the people like you. I'm the on-air talent of the show, you know. We get lots of hits, but I still make no dough.
Nobody.
Just remember, if I can do this, so can as well. When you fix your games, you know we ring the bell. Thanks for listening to my freestyle rap. That's the end of my part. I'm gonna take a nap.
that's the end of the show. Thanks for listening in.
But now's the time for our rap to end.
Merry Christmas, y'all, from the ART crew.
And thanks for listening in. Enjoy your December too.
Yeah, boy, look at you.
Goodbye. I'm gone.
Man, I tell you what, you freaked out pretty well, buddy.
I'm going to sleep.
Okay, it's kind of late.
This is a long podcast, man.
It is, I tell you what, man. It's been a great 2014, though, hasn't it?
Yeah. Welcome 2015, everybody. Merry
That's right.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, y'all. Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
I'm going to play some games.
That's right.
I think there might have been.
And that's why we don't do more raps.
There might have been some eggnog involved. I don't know. Thank goodness that did not become an annual tradition.
That's right. Hey, I will give you props. I was the one that pitched that to Tim, and he said he would do it.
It was fun.
So
yeah.
it was fun. But listening to it now, 2014.
Yeah.
4 years ago.
That sounds like a long time ago, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Matt says, "Okay, now this is my favorite moment." You need to go back and listen to that on the actual podcast.
Yeah,
so
that's my
really
most embarrassing moment. Thank you.
There you go. Oh, Tim and John got beats. Whoop whoop. There you go. So there you go. Tim, you're turning red.
I am red.
I think we were both turning red.
We were
laughing. So there you go. Okay, I think
it's been a wild ride.
That was glorious. There you go. So there you go, guys. 4 years ago, and you can thank Joe Crookham for that.
Yeah,
he was the one that brought that up. So next time
did.
you see him, you can thank him for that. Now, Tim, we talked a lot tonight about our favorite moments, and a lot of those were around our Volume 1 DVD, including yours, about replacing an arcade monitor unfinished. So we have very good, exciting news for you guys. So May 8th, Tim, is our 10th anniversary, right?
Okay.
May 8th is our 10th anniversary. And on that day, we are going to actually offer a special deal, okay? We are going to offer our Volume 1 DVD for only $10.
$10?
Because it's our 10th anniversary.
Wow.
Okay? That's $5 off the regular price. Tim, we have never offered it for that low.
No.
Never.
Yep.
Okay.
Not even if you combine them with, it's like a 5 tokens for $1 deal.
Exactly.
This is like a mega sale.
Exactly. So we've never offered...
Once every 10 years you get this.
That's right. We've never offered our Volume 1 DVD this low. And Tim, it's a great way for you to get in to the Arcade Repair Tips DVD series. Okay, and I get that.
Even if you know stuff, I'm telling you guys, $10. That's all it is. $10.
Right, $10.
I mean, have you priced the cost of a hamburger and fries at a non-McDonald's place?
At a non-McDonald's place, what'll it cost you?
Yeah, almost $10.
Now you
Skip one meal, you'll lose some weight and help us out.
How much is your buffet at Chuck E. Cheese?
It's $7.99 plus a drink.
Yeah, plus a drink.
And that no tokens.
That's right, no tokens.
Yeah.
So there you go. So we're going to offer it for $10, guys. It has over 25 minutes of never before seen footage, including Tim's video on replacing an arcade cabinet unfinished edition. And so you guys will be able to get this at our arcaderepairtips.com/store/sale, but you have to wait till the 8th. Okay, the deal does not go live until the 8th.
Okay, so you got a couple days to get
exactly
$10 earned.
Exactly.
Go
mow some yards.
You could probably wouldn't even mow somebody's front yard for $10 anymore, would you?
No, probably not. But
you
we're offering DVDs for that. That's right.
I'm saying, this is a deal, y'all.
So there you go. So we'll be offering it for $10 on May 8th. You can go to the link below, Tim, or you can check our social media pages on that day. Our Facebook page, our Twitter page will both have the link where you can get it for $10. So if you don't have our DVDs already, this is a great time for you to start and to get in. Okay, because you can buy this one for $10, you can buy the other two for $15 each, and for $40 you can have all of them. Tim, we typically run our trilogy for $45.
Right.
So it kind of saves you $5 on that as well. But a great way to get started in our DVD series. Our first DVD for only $10, shipped to your door within the continental United States.
You can't beat that.
That's right. So now there's limited quantities on that. When they're sold out, they're sold out.
All right.
Okay, but we will be offering those, so we hope you guys will get in on that deal. Now, Tim, one more thing here, just housekeeping-wise. We still want your arcade-related videos.
Yeah.
Okay? We want free advertising. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're looking for people to submit short videos, 10 minutes or less, about arcade-related topics. Send us a link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Our staff will review it, and if we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure you put a plug in for your channel so people will know where to find you. We look forward to seeing your submissions, Tim. We've gotten so many submissions, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
It's been crazy. So there you go. But recently they've kind of dried up. We got a lot up front, but they kind of dried up recently. So we'd like to get a lot more from you guys. If you guys have YouTube channels, we know some of you guys do, especially if they're on arcade-related topics. Tim, they don't have to be repair-related.
Right.
Just arcade-related.
Right.
Please send them over and let's take a look at them. We'd love to promote your channel. Okay, Tim, guess what?
Time to give away some stuff.
And the winners of the prizes in tonight's giveaway. That's what it is. It's time to give away some stuff. So, Tim.
I'm going to random do this.
Hang on a second. Okay, we got to get the prizes first. Okay. Oh, this is our trash bag here.
Okay, exactly.
Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay.
So what are we giving away first?
Okay, why don't we hold all this? We'll give away the grand prize at the end. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Okay, so this is the RES that we have been talking about here. So.
All right.
With the 501 game cartridge.
Yeah.
So there you go. Okay, should we wait on that one or should we give that one away first?
I don't know. Did you give my email yet?
What? Did you send an email?
Yeah, I'm trying to enter.
Oh, yeah, you're trying to enter. Okay, I do need to check it one last time, don't I?
Yeah,
Before we
check
go
it one
live
more
here.
time. You can show us live here. I'll show these prizes off.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
We always have, and guys, if you've never seen our seminars or whatever, we like to give away stuff.
We
Give
do.
away stuff fun.
We give away fun stuff. Okay, so I have the list here, Tim. Main camera's back on. Okay, so should we give away the big prize first?
We'll save it.
Okay, we'll save it for last. Okay, so you can put it over to the side. This is what we've been promoting.
Let's give away this.
Okay, Galaxian. Okay, so
Galaxian Tiny Arcade.
Okay, you want to hit a button there? Can you show them it works?
Yeah, let's see.
Does it work? It works! There you go, it lights up. Okay, Tim. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4,
ready?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Ready to draw?
Okay. Yes, whenever you're ready.
The first one is there 9?
Oh, which number? Give me the number.
The last person there, number 10.
Okay, number 10 is Marcus.
Marcus
from Decatur, Texas. You have won a Galaxian Tiny Arcade. And I'm going to put that in the notes here. Sorry, guys.
You didn't win this one. You won this one.
That's right. The Galaxian Tiny Arcade is for Marcus. There we go.
And you got this in the show, so you'll remember.
That's right. So there you go. I do have it in the show. I can go back. But
up?
I'm also making notes as well.
All right.
Okay, so what do we got next, Tim? Vanna?
This is an Asteroids.
Okay. Hey, we got hands.
Tiny Arcade.
Like underneath here? There we go.
Yeah.
So this one's a mini arcade, so it's a little bit different than the tiny arcades. Let's see here. Okay. I'm trying to. Does it come on? Here, do this one. There we go.
There it goes.
There you go.
Wow.
Here, you want sound effects? You can hold up to the mic there. There we go. Okay, Tim, give me a number.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Number 7.
And number 7 is let's see, Chris from Weatherford, Texas.
Hey, Chris, congratulations.
You have won an Asteroids. There we go. So we're gonna put this in here. Asteroids. Sweet. Okay.
All right. Now ready for this one?
I think I am. Okay. What do we got next?
Space Invaders.
Space
Everybody
Invaders.
should know
Tiny
that song.
Arcade. There we go. Space Invaders. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. Hold it up to the camera real close. Ooh, this one should focus. So if you get closer, it actually focuses.
Wow, look at that.
It's nice. Look at
That's
that.
cool. Space Invaders.
Space Invaders.
You
okay.
ready?
Here we go. Next number, please.
9.
9. Okay, Matt, you won.
Matt. I know Matt.
Yeah, Mascot Hills, Missouri. You're getting a Space Invaders Tiny Arcade, and he's in the chat room too.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Way to go, Matt.
Put that on here. Space Invaders. I know. Riveting, right? Riveting. So, okay, there we go.
The suspense.
That's right. Okay, Tim.
It's in the air for the big guy.
This is the last prize.
Your name hadn't been called. You're still in it.
So, what do we got here?
It is a
Retrobit RES.
RES.
Now, this does not have. This is not the RES Plus. Sorry, guys. This is just the regular one. So, but we do have the RES and the 501 game cartridge.
501.
Ooh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, Tim.
Shall I hit the button?
Yeah, hang on a second. Let me put this back in here. Okay. Okay, here we go. So who's getting it? Okay, let me look. Okay. Okay, and it looks like the winner is William from Ozark, Missouri.
Hey, William,
William from
congratulations.
Ozark, Missouri. You have won an RES game system with a 501 cartridge.
Man. You own it.
That's right. This is yours. It's coming to your door. We will be shipping it to the address you sent.
512 games.
No, 500.
Oh.
Man, you got to throw the 12 in there. 412.
I was thinking of 412.
Exactly. So there you go, guys. So, okay.
Almost 512
You got anything else you want to give away? Like you got like an old shirt or...
I feel like everybody that was in the chat room tonight deserves something.
Well, I feel like they're all winners for being here.
They are here.
There you go. So.
I hope you learned. Maybe you learned some stuff tonight that's going to pay dividends.
That's right. So I'm gonna. Okay, I gotta put this in here for William. Okay, the RES. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that is it, guys. Tim added 12 games. Yeah. He added 12 games.
Well, they're knockoffs. So just 12 more versions of Pac-Man you probably never played.
Right. Oh, Chris just sent one in. Sorry, Chris, you didn't get in under the wire. We already drew the contest, but he did say my favorite moments were the discussions with the Arcade Repair Toolbox, and every time you discuss modern problems, your help has been invaluable. Thank you. So there you go.
Welcome.
So thank you. I mean, that's always good. It says Charles. That's Charles. Sorry.
Okay.
But sorry, Charles, we got in just under the wire. We just drew the last prize. So I mean, and yeah. He sent that at 7:16. We'd already started drawing the prizes at that point.
It's all right.
That's okay. Okay, there we go. Okay. We were rewarded with your rap.
Oh, I think that your ears are damaged now.
That's right. I think we blew out everybody's speakers, and
we should have had a disclaimer before that thing came on.
That's right.
We got no record deals from that rap.
No, we did not, unfortunately. But Tim, we are finally at the end. Happy 10th anniversary.
Happy 10th anniversary to you, Johnson. It's been a fun time. And I would like to say that, along the way, there were guys like Michael and Stan and Jerry and even people in the background like Connor and Lawton and stuff that really were a lot of help. Of course,
our staff currently,
Mark,
Louie
and Eric.
Eric and Rusty.
Chris that helped for a while.
That's right, with the podcast.
It really was a village of people, which is what it was always meant to be. Not the Tim. We always didn't say we didn't want to be the Tim and Jonathan show. We just wanted to start a community, to create a community of people who could learn how and repair games together, and I think we've accomplished a lot of that.
And we pitched the thing about the arcade related videos, Tim, because here's the deal: a lot of you guys have trouble getting exposure on your YouTube channels. We have an established YouTube channel. We would love for you guys to send us repair videos. You can show somebody how to repair something. We'll put it up on our channel, and hopefully that drives traffic to your channel, because that's what we want. Tim, there can't not be enough arcade related videos out there.
No,
there can't be.
We could shoot 50 more and still not scratch the surface of probably the questions that we get.
Exactly.
Although we've covered a lot of stuff, we're still getting questions. I like the one tonight about the beacon light. Somebody could shoot a video on that. We've
had questions about parking meters, refrigerators. What all have we had questions on? Not just arcade stuff. I mean, we've had a lot of different questions over the years. I remember the parking meter one because I had somebody at I think the Hag. We did like a thing, and somebody was like, "I remember you answering the parking meter question. Why did somebody send you a question about a parking meter?" And I'm like, "I don't really know, but we answered it."
I think one of my best moments, I will have to say, is meeting people that have watched the show.
Absolutely.
Or listened to the show.
Like Jason in the soldering iron.
Like Jason, when I met him and he asked me to sign a soldering iron. I mean, I really am not anybody, but in my small way, the contribution that we have done, I don't want ever to be like that. We're not approachable or something, because we're just two guys in a garage trying to fix games.
Right, exactly.
And but when we went to places, when we went to Atlanta, people did treat us like royalty and like we were somebody, and we got to meet some extraordinary people.
Absolutely.
With some stuff, with some
Billy
real talent. Yeah, I think about meeting Jeff, and that does some of our voiceovers and stuff. And now, Jeff just signed on with Fox.
Right.
And is doing trailers and just...
And you talked about Bob earlier.
Yeah, and works at Pixar. I think, and then we get to meet people from all walks of life, all different kinds of jobs, that we all share one thing in common, and that is our love of arcade games and getting them working, getting them fixed, and keeping them up and going. And still, and reliving those memories of being back in the arcade in the 80s and dropping a token in a game and stuff like that. So... that's my favorite part. When we go somewhere and somebody says, "Hey, I know you guys, y'all helped me fix a game." Well, that makes everything else worth it. And I know that somewhere along the line, we taught what we were learning ourselves. A lot of it, we didn't always know everything, but we attempted. We always say that sometimes we can show you what not to do because we have been down the road. But we also said that we weren't going to be around to do this forever, and to know that one day my kids may be watching this and can remember the good times that we had and the fun that we always had. And so when we're in a nursing home, you guys drop by. It may not be very much longer for me. Jonathan's still got a few more years. But whatever nursing home they put me in, would you please come by and play some games sometime if you're ever in Tyler,
Hopefully you'll
Texas.
keep one of your arcade games for your nursing home room. So
the 5.
Now, somebody asked an interesting question. Do you guys have Twin Galaxy trading cards? We do not. And Tim, I think, I don't know how this was meant. We talked about this at the Hag where Walter and Billy all came. Like, we should get one.
Yeah, because it's kind of hard to nominate yourself.
Exactly.
It's kind of what you feel like in a way.
It's not only that. It's kind of like Tim said, though. We're just people. Like, we're just guys.
We never have seen ourselves as card worthy.
Exactly. And I also think that if something is going to get a Twin Galaxies card, it should just be Arcade Repair Tips.
Yeah,
like just
crew,
the general, the general like website. Like just the brand, because I mean the idea is not for me and Tim to run this forever. Eventually, we hope that somebody is willing to take it over. I mean, when we're done with this, hopefully there'll be others that'll walk in and do this instead. And so, with that in mind, it's not going to be the Tim and Jonathan show forever, like we've talked about. And that was always the intent. The intent was to put out content to help you guys repair games. It didn't matter who was doing the content.
But I never thought we'd be doing it 10 years later either.
Absolutely.
And here we are, 10 years seems like yesterday. Some of the stuff. So I would say that if somebody wanted to do something like that, that would be cool. But I think it should be the team effort. We're really not like I don't even feel like we're batters. I feel like we're more like the hot dog guy up in the stand in the game, compared to some of the guys that have received cards, those players and people that have made a contribution. But in some way, I hope that we have over 10 years made a valuable contribution, at least in somebody's arcade and life.
Right. I mean, we've gotten just thousands of questions, Tim. I mean, it's just unreal the amount of questions we've gotten and we continue to get. I mean, we still get questions from you guys. I mean, that's why the show keeps going.
How many questions are in the archive now?
Over 1,000, and that's just in the archive.
Over 1,000
right,
questions.
I mean, and that's not counting the archive
with
is not
answers.
Everything. Right, exactly. That's not counting everything at all. I mean, that's not even.
So
that may not even be.
Think about setting down and writing 1,000 questions about repairing an arcade game.
Right.
And you think really? I mean, and we still haven't covered everything.
Nope.
But a lot of stuff is covered there, guys. So if you're stumped on something, check out the archive. And Jonathan has worked really hard on a lot of stuff. I always tell people, all I do is show up and talk. Jonathan does all the work. He puts all these screens, all these slides together. He really goes out of his way, having 2 little kids now, and a full-time job, and being a husband, and doing all the stuff that he does. And everybody's busy, but he really makes this into a quality show, I think.
Well, but you put in a lot of work too. I mean, don't sell yourself short. I mean, it takes both of us. There's no way I could do it without you. And there's no way you could do it without me. I think it takes both of us. And, and there's no way that we could do it without people like Mark and Louie and Eric doing the podcast now with Rusty, because there's no way we could do a live show and a podcast now. There'd be no way. And so, I mean, without those guys, and Tim, I feel great that we have a staff now.
And what they bring to the table.
Exactly. It's different than what we bring.
It's so different, yeah. And so, guys, if you're not watching or listening to our podcast, you guys are missing out. I'm learning new stuff every month.
Right.
So I enjoy listening to it myself. So we're just, 10 years, thousands of memories, really. But the ones I remember the most are the times when somebody's come up, and I remember the guy who brought his little girl.
Right.
And he said that they had dad and daughter time out in the garage and listened to us and would fix stuff. And his little girl wanted to meet us.
Right.
And that was really humbling for me to even think that, this is really what it's all about is bringing people together and a next generation growing up to appreciate the games that we love.
Well, and Jeff told us the same thing. He listened to it with his son. And guys, the thing we always strive to do was keep it clean. And that's hard, to be honest with you. And, when Chris and Eric were doing the podcast, Chris said the same thing. He's like, this is really hard to keep it clean. And it is hard to keep it clean. But the reason we like to keep it clean is because we want you to be able to listen without being embarrassed about it.
Right.
You can listen in front of your kids. You can watch this in front of your family. And you don't have to worry if they hear a stray word.
Right.
Okay. And it's hard on me and Tim sometimes because
our humor sometimes can get off track a little. We might have had to edit a few things out.
We have had to edit a few things out, in fact, especially out of the podcast.
But because we don't want to be holier than thou either, because we say plenty.
Look, there is language in everything out there now,
but
and it's
we
hard
try.
Exactly, we just try to keep it as clean as possible. I mean, that's all we try for. I mean, and look, we have
the focus is where we want it to be, on the games and on the content and getting stuff repaired.
Right.
And you guys help by sending in those questions, by answering in the live chat and on our Facebook page. You know, people get answers within minutes when they go there. So if you're, you know, a lot of times we don't get back around for another month, but there's people in a community of people that will help you on our Facebook page. We have, over 5,000 people?
Not that many.
It's over
2,500.
Oh, I'm not saying about subscribers on YouTube.
Oh, we have over 6,000 of those.
Okay. Well, you need to invite some people to our Facebook page, because obviously they're not all there. But I'm saying it's a quick community was our goal to create, and now it's really growing. So also some of you guys also step up and answer questions and stuff like that.
Now think about, remember Josh? Josh was like,
oh my
16
gosh,
when he started listening to us?
Yeah.
Now he's 26.
Oh my gosh.
Think about that for a second.
Now I'm really old. Josh can't be 26.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't. I mean, I'm just guessing. Is he that?
Yeah.
Okay, there you
runs
go.
a route. Runs his own route.
There you go.
You know, and fixes games on
but
a
you
daily
see,
basis.
I mean, that's one of the reasons me and Tim, when we set out to do this, we wanted to keep it kid friendly. We wanted to keep it family friendly because we wanted to inspire the next generation. We wanted to inspire the kids coming up that they can do this too. I mean, a lot of these kids, Tim, the only memories they really have of the arcade is maybe Chuck E. Cheese.
Right.
But they need to know. I mean, this is how.
And we have several
people
people that are now in the arcade repair business, because they got over the fear of learning and got into repairing games, and now they do it for a living.
Absolutely.
I might add, if you're looking in that market, it's not a great living, but it is a living. You can make a living doing this, and there are lots of jobs open. Gosh, I get offers all over the place from LinkedIn. I see arcade game repairmen all over the world. So, if that's something you're interested in, you know, maybe when you retire from your current job, maybe you want a part-time job. I think that's a noble thing to do to keep games up and working.
There you go. So, Tim, I think we'll leave it there.
Y'all.
We still have an after show to do.
All right. We better get going.
Yeah, exactly. We better get going. Well, hang on a second. I gotta do all the contact information.
They know all this.
Okay, guys. General emails. Questions at arcaderepairtips.com. Questions at arcaderepairtips.com. If you put live show in the subject, it'll get mentioned on the show, and you can also send your questions there as well. Questions for anything, Tim. We'll answer refrigerator questions. We'll answer parking meter questions as well, won't we? Absolutely. So, YouTube page, youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, you're here right now, so you know exactly where to find it. Comments from the last live show will be covered on the next live show. Tim, just like we talked about, the first question tonight came from a comment from the previous show. So we do cover those on the next show if you leave comments. Podcast at arcaderepairtips.com. It goes to Eric and Rusty. They host the question and answer podcast. Make sure you subscribe on iTunes at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com or Stitcher. And leave them a review. That's right, Stitcher.arcaderepairtips.com. Leave them a review. Let them know that they're doing an absolutely fantastic job with what they do. And of course, we have our social media pages, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com and twitter.arcaderepairtips.com, which I just found out today got hacked and we'll have to change our password for. So, there you go. Tim, did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Twitter got hacked, so we will be changing our password very soon for that. Hopefully, you guys will be too. But you guys can find all the great information there on our Facebook page, and I really want to thank Louie and Mark for the work that they put into Facebook. They do a great job with the posts. Tim, we've had some excellent ones. Mark put on that one about the Galaga high score being broken, and the guy who broke it posted in the comments. I don't know if you saw that.
Wow.
So there you go. That's part of our reach right there.
That was cool.
Very cool stuff. So, guys, I think that's going to do it for the regular show. We have the after show coming up where we talk about non-arcade related topics. But, Tim, is there anything you want to say?
Nonsense.
That's right. Is there anything you want to say about our 10th anniversary or anything else you want to say before we wrap it up here for the regular show?
It's been a great 10 years, and I look forward to doing many more before we have to retire or call it quits. So thank you guys. For as long as you keep watching, we'll keep making.
There you go. Sounds good to me. Thank you guys for watching tonight, and thank you all for supporting us over these 10 years. Regardless of if you only support us for tonight, Tim, maybe this is your first live show, or if you've been listening to our content since 2008 or reading our content since 2008, thank you so much for participating. We really do appreciate it. 10 years has been a wonderful 10 years of doing this, and we couldn't have done it without you guys and all of your support and all of your questions and everything else. So thank you so much. And guys, you can stay tuned to the after show. We'll be talking about, what will we be talking about, Tim?
Well, we'll talk
NFL
about
draft,
sports,
Toys R Us,
movies,
Okay.
TV shows.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
A little bit of everything.
Sounds good. So stay tuned for the after show. If this is where you're getting off, though, thank you for joining us tonight. And remember, here at Arcade Repair Tips, when you fix the game, you play the game. Take care, everybody. See you in the after show.
See you soon.
There you go.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
And we're back. Welcome to the live show, guys. Can you hear us? I think they can hear us.
I think
Looks
so.
like they can hear us. So, okay, so how did
How
that
does
go?
that look like you can hear somebody?
Well, I can see the levels.
Okay, you see it?
I can see it bouncing. That's all I see. So, how did the 10th anniversary show go? It's kind of like a post-mortem now.
I think so. I guess it's just the debate section and everything. We're getting so comfortable with 15 of them we've done.
Oh, I know.
It doesn't seem like it's live anymore. I just have fun and just talk to you.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this, Tim. Now, we always need an update. How's the $10 doing?
Remember
our investment update from the previous show.
At about $10.75, 79 cents.
Okay, let's give everybody a recap. So, YouTube Punk sent Retro Amigo.
Yeah.
Jason, I think is his name. He gave us $10 for one of the shows, and I said
invest.
I was going to give that $10 to Tim to invest because he has been playing the stock market on Robinhood.
Yes.
Okay, and so Tim, how many shows has this been now? Like 3?
Yes.
3 shows. So where's our $10 at?
Well, at current rate, it's at like $5 and something cents, but I cashed out.
Okay.
And took the money and
So
ran.
where are we at now?
Well, we're at $10.79 or whatever I cashed
so we
out
made
at.
79 cents.
I reinvested
Oh.
in an inverse stock and down, and I made probably about $2.50 off of that. So total gains we're at about $14 almost.
We turned our $10 into 14. Woo!
Yeah, and that's actually, you consider that's one stock. If you do that 100 times,
Right.
it's a little bit more money.
Right. So there
Still
you go.
not a lot of money.
No, not a lot of money.
And
But we've made some money.
Made a little bit of money.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you got $10.79. They're like, no. No, we're actually at $12.50.
Yeah.
$12.50.
I've reinvested, so
There you go.
add another $2.50 to that.
There you go. So we're at 13 something. 13.20, 13.19.
Yeah.
13.19. So there you go. Okay, well, it's good to know. Now, Tim, new Toys R Us liquidations. I went by our local one here, and now most items are 20% off. So if you've got a Toys R Us in your area, you can now get most of the items for 20%
They just
off.
won't go away. They dragging it out, man.
Well, I mean, they're trying to get as much money as they can so they can pay off all of the debtors, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to.
They should have thought about that 5 years ago.
People have been putting in bids for the company, and they're rejecting them, which I find very fascinating. It's like they want the stores to close, and maybe it has something to do with them getting paid. I have no idea, but...
And see, new pizza place was coming in to
Tyler.
Tyler.
Forgot about that. I didn't put that on.
And
so we are getting
Mr. Gaddy.
Mr. Gaddy's.
And I said, why don't you use the Toys R Us? They're like, because they're still there.
That's true.
They won't
be there
leave.
for a
So if
while.
they would have left, we'd get a Mr. Gaddy's in.
A Gaddy town.
Yeah. They need to. we loved you, but go on. You're leaving. Just get out.
Well, they got it. They got to get the money.
Throw
for
it
the
down to
credits.
90% off. Let's sell the stuff and go.
And here's the deal: when you go
It
there,
ain't big enough.
it
to
has
discount.
It has this 40% in big letters, right?
Right.
Like 40%, and then in very tiny
Selected
letters,
items.
up to 40% off. So when you go, most things are 20% off.
Yeah.
Switch games are 20% off.
They're probably all
video
gone
games
now.
are 20% off.
Oh well, they're probably
Video
clearing
game
them out.
consoles were 10% off.
They didn't have any consoles when I went.
Yeah, because 10% off of
They
video
have a
game
Switch
consoles
when
pretty
I went.
good, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there you go.
Yeah, and you never get a discount on a console, hardly ever.
No, hardly ever. So there you go. So if you do have a local Toys R Us, 20% off. Tim, they did have the Karate Champ mini arcade, BurgerTime mini arcades were 20% off.
Missed that.
But they're $30, so 20% off. You're looking at $6 off, $23.99, which I still feel like is high for those. Is that just me?
Yeah,
for that particular one. So there you go. But they did have them all in stock still. So I'm hoping that once they drop it to 40 or something, I might pick them up.
Yeah.
So there you go. Now, Tim, you wanted to talk about the NFL draft. Now, I know your boy went number 1 overall.
Number 1 pick, although for those of you
and
who
the
don't
boy
know,
is Baker Mayfield. And why is he your boy, Tim?
well, because I'm an Oklahoma Sooner fan.
That's right. And Baker was
Joe Crookham will tell you they are the best team. So we're for those of you who don't know, or you've heard my story, I did grow up in Oklahoma back when Oklahoma was just a great team. Billy Sims was a running back. Barry Switzer was a coach. Just had some very good years up there. Okay, I would say that, do I think it's awesome that we got the number 1 pick in the draft? Yeah. Was I surprised? Yes. I was looking at him as being honestly about the 3rd best quarterback.
Really?
Yeah.
Who'd you put ahead?
Oh, I would have put the guy from that went to Southern Cal. You put me on the spot, John. He went to Southern Cal. He was oh gosh, somebody help me in the chat room. The guy with the mole on his face. Everybody knows him as John Boy. He was better. The guy from Wyoming was better. Throwing pro quarterbacks. But I will say this, it's kind of like Tebow. It's like all he does is win. Baker Mayfield is a competitor and a player. And I will draw the comparison to Brett Favre.
You think he's a Brett Favre type?
Kind of. Well, he actually, if you watch the films, he really has a good arm. He throws a long, accurate pass. So it's not just, but then again, he's kind of a hot dog. Kind of a lot of people are thinking, oh, that's Johnny Manziel all over again. I think he's a lot better quarterback than Manziel ever was throwing the ball.
Nice.
Manziel was really good in college. He was a Heisman guy, but there's a lot of difference in transferring that to being able to throw a pass way down the field,
right, on
the run and all that stuff. Baker Mayfield is excellent at that. But then again,
really what you need.
He is going to the Cleveland Browns, which take quarterbacks and spit them out like there's nobody's business.
Exactly.
So, if it had been I almost would have rather him drop down and go to a team that was going to take good care of him. But, you never know. You really don't. It's like, And then we're big Cowboys fans.
Yep. So I put the Cowboys first and second pick here. So linebacker Leighton Vander Esch.
Which was,
and then offensive lineman Connor Williams.
A lot of people were surprised that they went with Vander Esch as their first pick. He's the top pick. They could have picked a receiver, already knowing that Des Bryant was going to go.
But are you going to get the same production out of a receiver in the draft that you would have gotten out of Des Bryant?
Well,
I mean, you would now. But I mean, if you're looking to replace a top tier receiver,
had Moore. And the guy from Alabama, on film, they look like pro-time and kind of cocky like receivers. They're good receivers are T.O. kind of guys, you know.
Right.
They're just the best. Des Bryant's awesome, or was at one time. So to replace, that's big shoes to fill. But the fact that we really have linebacker issue, we lost Hitchens. So you got Vander Esch. If you've watched films of him, another guy. Reminds me a lot of Sean Lee. Hard hitter, big.
And I think that's kind of what people...
corn-fed country boy.
Exactly. People were hoping for. Now, have you seen a picture of him out of high school?
Yeah.
Skinny.
Yes.
He put a lot of meat on his bones.
He did. He's a big guy. So I was kind of surprised, but I don't mind the pick because we needed it.
Joe says, I'm a Browns fan, but let me tell you, we just don't win, but I still love my Browns, hoping he does great for us, though. I hope he does great, too.
Yeah.
The Browns need a win. You guys need a win.
You know, and
a winning season.
And he's that kind of guy that makes people around him. See, opponents hate his guts.
Right.
But people that played with him love being his teammate.
Sure.
And maybe that says something more... Because, like I said, he's kind of, the guy took Ohio State's flag and stuck it on their field, did some crazy stuff. But at the end of the day, you're glad that guy's on your team and not against you.
Sure.
So, who knows? But I don't know about the Cowboys pick. Time will tell. And then they got Connor Williams,
right?
Which I definitely agreed with that pick.
We had a pretty big hole in our offensive line last year, I felt like.
Do you ever notice, though, that Jerry Jones seems like he really likes to go local?
Mm-hmm.
Des Bryant was from Texas, and played Oklahoma State. I think he seems to like that. And,
but, I mean, come on. How many football players are from Texas?
Exactly.
There's quite a few.
And there are a lot of good ones.
That's right.
But Connor Williams is a hoss. And when you got an aging offensive line, remember what happened last year?
Right.
Cowboys were in the hunt. Then all of a sudden Tyrone Smith goes down.
Yep.
The next thing you know, that one guy goes in to block and gives up 6 sacks in one game.
Oh, that's terrible.
We had no depth. So that was a great
Now, speaking
pick.
of last season's Cowboys, have you seen All or Nothing?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't watched any of the episodes.
Oh, my
I've
gosh.
heard the audio. They were playing some audio on one of the sports talks.
You
that I
need to
listened
watch it. It's
so on Amazon
so
Prime,
good.
if you're a Prime member, you can watch All or Nothing, the 2017 Dallas Cowboys, which is basically a 10-episode behind the scenes of the Dallas Cowboys. And they did it with Missouri, too, right?
Yeah.
I think that's another one. They have Missouri football. They did it
No,
behind All or
Iowa, I
Nothing.
think.
Or Iowa, or one of them. I can't remember. But they do it with Dallas Cowboys. And there's a lot of stuff that comes out.
Love or hate the Cowboys, you'll like the show.
The audio I heard, though, makes Jason Garrett seem awesome.
Yeah. Oh.
Way better than what I thought.
Way more respect for him than as a coach. I mean, I always thought, okay, he's Jerry's boy. No, Jason Garrett walks into the room and he's like, look, and let me tell you something. He says the F word a lot.
Yes, he does.
So be prepared for that. But he is just like, look, this stops today. It stops here.
Right.
And, you don't run this team. I do. And I mean, I was like, and he is on the sidelines. He's like, good play, man. Come on. We need one whip. He is talking the whole time. And I'm like, I have way more respect for him as a coach. And I'll tell you who's going to be a great coach one day. Sad day for us Cowboys fans. We can mention it. Is Jason Witten.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Jason,
he's going to Monday Night Football right now.
Yeah, I hope he'll go into coaching, though. When you watch the show, he will turn around and say, tell him, and Witten will get up and talk, and it's like, man. And he's talking on the sidelines to the other players. Come on, get up. Come on, defense. And Witten would make a great coach. But you know what? Jason Garrett is way better coach than I ever.
And that's all the audio I heard. I kind of felt the same.
I was like, oh my gosh, he really handles himself very well professionally, and had all this stuff going on with Ezekiel Elliott and stuff, and he's just like, look, it doesn't matter if Ezekiel's playing this week or not, guys. we're gonna play, and we're gonna come in with a ball game. We're gonna run it down their throats, and we're gonna win. You know, it's like he's really good. And when they lost, he just he would tell them.
Absolutely.
So anyway,
That's
really interesting show.
So you can watch it if you're Amazon Prime.
I binge watched it once I started watching it. It was just like I watched it in about 3 days.
It's on my list. So.
Don't start. I did it in 3 days. It was like I couldn't stop watching it.
Okay, so we had a question in the chat. Edward says, "Have you guys seen the new Avengers movie yet?"
I have not.
I have.
You have? Okay, you got to go see that one.
So,
the boys went.
I like to call this. Have you seen Rogue One?
Yes.
This is like Marvel Rogue One.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
and it's not everybody dies, but a lot of people die.
Well, we knew that.
That's not
coming in.
Is that a spoiler? I was about to say, is that a spoiler?
We knew that coming in that somebody was going to die.
But here's the deal, okay? It is fantastic.
Okay.
How in the world they crammed all these characters into one movie, gave them all a plot, all a story, and it all made sense? I'll have no idea.
I heard it's long.
It's long. It's like 3 hours.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, but
kept your attention for 3 hours.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a little less than 3 hours, but it is fantastic.
What about you guys in the chat? Have y'all seen?
Anybody who's seen it?
I want to go. I need to go see it.
It is incredible.
The boys went, but gosh, they went at 10 o'clock on Saturday night. I'm like, I'm going to.
I told my wife she can't watch it though because I don't want her to cry.
Oh, okay.
So,
a lot of more drama, huh?
Well, I mean, people die.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it is what it is. It's like The Empire Strikes Back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it ends on a low. Well, on a bad note.
Right.
With the bad guys winning. How about that? I mean, it ends with the bad guys winning. Is that a spoiler?
No, we knew that going in.
That's what I was to say. I mean, you know that, right?
Yeah.
So 1 year from now, there'll be the continuation. You'll get to see the rest of it. But I had no idea how they were going to be able to balance all the characters, all the storylines, and they do it magnificently. And there's only one after credits scene, only one.
Okay.
So you
don't keep staying after that.
Just watch the one, and then you're good to go.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, you don't have to stay for like 4 of them, like Guardians of the Galaxy, or whatever. But it was fun.
Segueing in, you got something for your birthday.
I did. So I had a birthday since we last had a thing, and so
reminds me.
My parents.
I think your present is.
My parents, my dad just told me, I'm going to get you something like totally frivolous. I hope that's okay. And I'm like, okay, sure. I'm like, what could it be? And so I opened it up and I got Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
So I was not expecting this. I did not think about it. And here we are. So I've been playing Mario Odyssey and it is the best game I've played in a long time.
You've been playing it or your daughter been playing it?
We've been playing it together.
Okay.
So that's my excuse for playing it is that she likes to play it.
She likes it.
So I have been playing Super Mario Odyssey, and it is fantastic. The hat mechanic. So he throws his hat, and he can take control of different characters when the hat falls on top of them. So like if you throw the hat and it lands on a Goomba, you take control of the Goomba.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that. And so that's the mechanic. And it is so well done. It is so good, and just fantastic game. I've got that. I've got Mario Kart. I bought Rocket League for it, Tim. I love Rocket League. Do you know what Rocket League is? Okay, it's like soccer with cars. Okay, so I love Rocket League. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all the games I have right now. But
sweet.
If you haven't seen one, these guys come off and you can use them as controllers, and they charge, and you can do the touch screen. It's very versatile. Tim, just a lot of fun. Highly recommend it if you don't have a Switch or you're thinking about getting one. I've seen them as low as $250. So I mean, not terrible, but I mean, it's portable. It's 100% portable, so you can take it with you anywhere.
Right.
So, I mean, and it has a kickstand, stands up, everything.
You can watch movies and stuff on it?
You can watch movies. I haven't tried that. That's a good question. I don't know what it does besides play games. I was going to see if anything calls. But I don't know what it does besides play games, but it's very nice. So, there you go. So, yeah, my dad, thanks to my dad and my mom for
that's some cool folks right there now.
Yeah. Well, they bought me probably every video. Well, I'd say they bought. There were several video game systems I saved up for and bought. But, like, at Christmas time, they were very good to me as far as video game systems went. They bought me my Super Nintendo. They bought me my Nintendo. And those were the two big ones, So then they bought me this.
You haven't been watching stuff on there. What have you been watching?
Okay, yeah, we're getting into that.
Big screen.
I was going to look here and see what else we got. Joe says, how far are you guys from Paris, Texas? I'm hoping to visit a friend I've made in the Masters of the Universe He-Man collecting group. How far are we from Paris?
Paris, Texas, we are about an hour and 15 hour and 20 minutes.
I always forget. So there you go.
I've been there plenty of times.
Yeah. Let's see. Joe says, yeah, it sucks. I guess being a Browns fan. My wife is a Patriots fan. Always talk about a rough football season at our house.
Did the Patriots end up with a quarterback?
I don't know.
Answer that in the chat if you know, because, that's what the Patriots need, a backup, because every backup they get ends up being a star player somewhere else.
Right.
And they were needing a backup.
Right. Joe says his wife, I guess, saw Avengers twice, and she cried.
Wow. Okay.
And see, that's what it is.
Cry.
That's why my wife can't watch it.
Okay.
YouTube Punk says, "What a cool dad." I know my parents are cool.
They are,
and they're pretty nice to me. So, did you see that the Indians beat the Rangers yesterday? Although you guys won the series, yes, I did, and that was a terrible game. Oh my goodness, 12 to 4. We are terrible. We did go 500 on this last road trip, which is fantastic, but we are bad.
Yeah.
And we're going to be bad. In fact, the only way they're selling tickets right now, I have a guy calling me, offering me tickets. And he's like, hey, if you buy tickets now, we'll make sure that you get tickets to the new stadium when it opens in 2020. They're not selling it on the field product for sure.
Wow, no.
So there you go.
Yeah,
They sent me a postcard, and it has a picture of the new stadium, and it has my name up on the marquee.
We got
like they're really trying to get me in there. I was like, that's good marketing right there.
Yeah, we're gonna lose Beltray and Camels.
You think so before the end of the year?
Before the end of the year, somebody will want them that's got a playoff run. We're gonna get some prospects. We're looking at next 2 years.
Okay, so let's go on. Like you said, stuff we've been watching. So I've seen the Andre the Giant HBO documentary. Tim, have you seen this?
No.
It is very good.
I'd like to watch that.
It is done in conjunction with HBO.
Okay.
And WWE. And, there's a lot about Andre the Giant I didn't know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that he was French.
Yeah, I knew that.
I knew he was European. I didn't
know
realize
he could drink 2
French.
cases of beer.
He can. That's part of the stories. There's a lot of different stories about him that people tell and everything. It's very fascinating. I watched it. It was great, so I highly recommend that. If you have HBO Go, I think you can watch it.
Okay,
so I do have it. So, but been watching The Americans. This is the final season. Things are really starting to heat up on that show, Tim. If you haven't seen it, if you wait like 4 more weeks or something like that, you could probably binge watch the entire thing on like Amazon.
Okay.
Because it's almost over. We're at the end. I've been watching Legion, and probably the one that a lot of people want to talk about is Cobra Kai. Because me and you both watched the first 2 episodes. I've seen the 3rd episode, and so
YouTube Red.
That's right, YouTube Red. So you can watch it right here. You guys are watching us on YouTube. You can watch the first 2 episodes for free. The other episodes require YouTube Red, which is free for 30 days, and I forget how much it is after that. So
most of the people that I trust and that I like and I hang out with have all loved it.
Yes.
It's awesome. Watch it. You'll love it.
Right.
But then I've seen people online just totally bashing it. And I'm like, and I'm like,
I watched the first episode.
I don't know what you expect. I thought it was great.
I know.
I like the storyline. I like everything about it.
Me too.
I was like, this is a good show.
The second episode was not as good as the first, but the first one is fantastic.
Yeah.
It shows. Yeah, it shows Johnny. He's in a rough circumstance. I'm not going to spoil anything because you guys can watch it right here on YouTube. Tim, we're not sellouts at all, are we? But it is very good. I know I think Matt said he binge watched the entire thing already.
Yeah.
Several people have.
And you can get YouTube Red for free for what, a month?
30 days.
30 days. So gives you 30 days. I'll watch it in 30 days.
There you go. So I got a couple things here. John says, haven't seen the movie yet, but my kids watched Superhero Squad about 4 or 5 years ago, and the plotline was the Infinity Stones. Hilarious. Great cartoon when it was on. I have not seen Superhero Squad, but I've heard about it. And it's a cartoon series, and they did do the Infinity Stones. Joe says, been a Tribe fan my whole life. In the World Series, or the best World Series I've seen in my 40 years was the Cubs and Indians.
Oh, yeah.
That was a very good World Series. So, I really thought the Indians were going to pull it out. And the Cubs, it was fantastic. I go back to 2011, even though we were on the receiving end of a beating, and probably just like him, he said Cubs and Indians, even though they didn't win. 2011 was one of the best World Series I've ever seen. Game 6 was probably the best World Series game ever. Buster Olney puts it up there.
You know who was pitching on my favorite Indians team?
Who?
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, there you go.
That was the best show. Major League
is great.
That was a great show. I love that they were the Indians. That was a good.
So Joe says the Andre the Giant documentary was awesome. YouTube Punk says Legion is great. Trippy. It is trippy.
Okay.
It is very trippy. In fact, Mr. Robot and Legion have a lot of stuff in common.
Oh.
Like just the way that they work. They both are,
Mr.
Robot's kind of about a schizophrenic guy, and Legion's about a guy who has mental superpowers. Like he's got telepathy and things like that. And at one point, basically another mutant is in his head. And kind of makes this alternate reality kind of for him. And so you don't know what's real, you don't know what's fake. Okay. And that's kind of how it is with Mr. Robot, too. It's it's hard to tell what's real and what's fake,
Right.
So, both those shows are very trippy. He says, I watched Cobra Kai today, the entire season. Awesome. Joe did. You see somebody...
The entire season. See, that's the way I'll be. What'd you do this weekend? Watch Cobra Kai.
Right. I saw the third episode. I watched 1 through 3 last night. So
are they longer than the first two, or the first two?
They're all short.
Short?
They're all short. So, as far as I can tell. So, Cobra Kai, though. So, the first 2 episodes, you liked them? The first episode. Have you already seen the first one? Okay.
I've seen both of the first 2.
Okay, they're very good. Very good. And the first 3, the third one was really good. And each one kind of leaves on a little bit of a cliffhanger, it seems like.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, but the third one kind of really starts getting into the story of things, I feel like. The first 2 are set up.
Right.
Like, where's Johnny? Where's Daniel? And then the third one's like, okay, now we got to get into the logistics of the story, so. But it was very good. Now, Tim, you saw a movie that I wanted to see, and I still haven't seen, Ready Player One. So what did you think of Ready Player One?
Man, look.
You came out of it, and you texted me, and you're like, you got to see it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it.
I don't, if you're a fan of the 80s, I don't know how you cannot like Ready Player One. It's Steven Spielberg. It starts off with the song Jump.
Okay.
And I'm there.
Can't go wrong.
Right. So you start off with the song Jump, and it starts in, and just a really, really good movie. I liked it. It was very entertaining. Took the boys. They loved it. If you like video, I don't see how you can walk away from that movie if you like video games, especially classic games, modern games, big showdown in the end. Everybody's a virtual character, and in the characters, there are different video game
good
characters.
Ending?
Great ending.
Okay, that's what I care about a lot of times.
It's a good ending. A lot of. Without spoiling, there's 3 things they have to do to unlock and get the prize.
The Oasis, right?
Yeah, the Oasis.
Yeah, I know a little bit of it.
You know a little bit. Well, one of the things is they have to find an Easter egg in an Atari 2600 game.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, if you're an Atari fan, 2600 fan, you'll know this Easter egg. You'll know what game they should be playing to find it. It'll be a lot of fun. You'll enjoy watching it. And
sounds good.
How they got it.
So, and then you texted me that you had seen Lost in Space.
Yes.
So
the new Lost in Space. I know it's a little bit before your time, but Shirley Johnson on Nick at Night or something. Did you ever watch any episodes of Lost in Space? Danger, Will Robertson,
Mm-hmm.
Danger.
I am familiar with Lost in Space.
Okay, well, this is the modern day version of it. They had a movie that come out. You can watch the movie on Netflix about 10 years ago or so. Matt LeBlanc plays on it.
Really? That's interesting.
And so I'm just saying, if you like that movie, you watch the movie, you'll like, because it's a more modern day. It's a really cool robot, and he's not necessarily a good robot. And so there's aliens and stuff, and they crash on a foreign planet. But it's really, really good. I watched the whole season pretty quickly.
Nice.
And they're long episodes, so it's kind of one of those shows you can watch for a month or so.
Gotcha. Joe says the longest episode is the last of Cobra Kai.
Okay.
So there's a longer episode for the last. I
just thought they were really
know the third
short.
one was short.
But then I thought, well, maybe they're
No
short.
commercials.
Yeah, I thought, well, maybe they're short too, because it's just like free, like teasing you with a short.
Right. No, I think it's got a complete story from what I've seen. Joe says I haven't seen Ready Player One, but really want to.
Yeah.
Let's
need to
see.
see
And
it.
Andre the Giant died in a hotel by himself.
Oh, that's sad, really.
That's really sad for you. And Joe brought that up. That was really good, really sad. So, but yeah. So I am looking for. I'm probably going to try to watch some more Cobra Kai tonight. So because I do want, I do want to watch that. Tim, is there anything else? We've gone through the after show outline, and at this point, we're like at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. So this would be like a really long podcast at this point.
Back to the NFL draft.
Okay.
About the player that got taken that has one arm.
I saw that. His jersey is number 5 top selling of all the draftees. I saw this.
It is.
Somebody did a like a story or documentary.
Yeah. On my Facebook page, I posted a little thing about him. If you want to be inspired, or just the kind of one of those that make you quit having excuses, watch his life story. He was Player of the Year last year on his college football team, Conference Player of the Year.
Wow.
That's how he got a lot of notoriety and got drafted.
Gotcha.
But he was cut by that team 3 times.
Wow.
He didn't even make the practice squad.
Crazy.
Never gave up. Kept in the combine. He used a prosthetic hand and bench pressed 225 pounds 20 times.
Oh my goodness.
Nobody else could do it.
Wow.
I mean, you really want somebody to idolize and be like. You really should watch or every story you hear about him. He's the real deal. He's not some kind of sideshow or something. He's a good football player who happens to be missing a hand. When he was 5 years old, John, his hand was in so much pain. I forget what it's called. He tried to cut his own arm off.
Oh my goodness.
It hurt him so bad, so they had to amputate it. He has a twin brother. I think it's his twin brother or his brother for sure, and also playing for the Seahawks. So he got drafted ahead of him, and now they're on the same team.
Wow.
And it's a good story. It's one of those. I don't know how you don't root for that guy. He's just an amazing person and got a great attitude and encouraging other people that have disabilities and stuff to pursue their dreams, you know. I just think he definitely deserves to be in the NFL, and I'm going to be interested in watching him play.
That's pretty awesome. So, Tim, we did get some stuff. High production value on Lost in Space. I like the way they ended the season 1 in Lost in Space.
Yeah,
people said.
I did too. That was a good ending, and the robot was totally different than any other robot in the way that he kind of, learns and thinks, and he's really interesting and bad. Hey, I don't know how he's just. You don't want to mess with the robot. He ain't the old danger. He's a pretty cool robot.
So there's part of that language we were talking about earlier, right?
Yeah.
Almost did that one. So
he's tough. I don't know what else you call him. He's just so
son of a gun.
Tough. Yeah, he's a tough shooting son of a gun there.
There you go. So anyway, well, I'm tired.
Me too.
And hungry.
It's late.
And we had fun.
We did.
Yeah, so thank you guys again for joining us. And 10-year anniversary. May 8th. Don't forget, you can get your DVD for $10.
$10.
If you don't have it, limited quantities. So
whole
make sure
set for what?
Well, I mean, you can get the other 2 for $15 each. Yeah. So that puts it at
$40 for all 3 of them.
For all 3 of them, if you want to order them.
Lots of hours of arcade goodness.
You're already getting up. You're like, we haven't even signed off.
I gotta go to the chiropractor in the morning. My back is hurting.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, we're gonna sign off here, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight, and for everybody that helped us celebrate our 10-year anniversary. We will have a show next month, Tim. Let's see what we got here. I always like to look it up. It will be on. Oh wow, we're gonna have a late one, June 7th.
Oh, okay.
You don't have anything to do on June 7th?
Not that I know of.
Well, right now it is planned for June 7th, so it'll be, several weeks before we get around to that. Mm-hmm. You guys lasted as long as the Avengers movie. We sure did. So there you go. And you were hopefully entertained just as much. So there you go. Hey, 10 years for both of us, right? 10 years for both of us. So anyway. Well, guys, thanks again for joining us tonight, and we appreciate...
say hi. I was just going to say hi. Okay. I need a buy on the back.
I was about to say, do you have a buy on the back? But thank you guys for joining us tonight. Thank you for helping us celebrate 10 years. I will be shipping out the prizes sometime this week. Okay, so, be checking your mailboxes for those who we announced who won. And other than that, we're out. We're going to go eat dinner.
Yes.
You guys have probably been eating dinner while you've been watching us, but we got to go eat. So we're going to go eat dinner. We're signing off here. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a good night, and we'll see you next month for the Arcade Repair Tips live show.
Live long and prosper.
There you go.